Welcome. 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 Welcome to the True Sky Crew podcast, where we encourage you to look up and see the sky for yourself. This is season 2. We are in episode 6, which we will be discussing November 2025's transits. But season 2's theme is that we are all united under one sky. While we absolutely should be celebrating our differences, one fact remains the same. The true sky don't lie. And the celestial siblings above us give very pertinent information to our lives. And remember, this is the original template of astrology, using the real sky, the real stars. And that's what we're all about here. So, again, this is episode 6. We are going to be discussing November's transits. I am your host, Sachi. You can find me at Sachi the Seer on Instagram, YouTube, Threads, X, and remember to also follow the True Sky Crew on Instagram, Threads, X, and of course, subscribe to us on YouTube if you want True Sky services like chart readings, or if you just want to see your True Sky information in a way that is easy for you to read and you can do research for yourself. If you just want the True Sky data presented to you in a very easy and digestible formatted way, you can get all of that at sachitheseer.com. And all of those links for those who are watching the replay can be found in the description box of this video. And, getting your specific star information is really a whole new world of astrological understanding. And I really recommend it for anyone that is deeply invested in cosmic understanding of themselves. So today we have a very special guest with us. We have our special guest, Morgan of the Celestial Serpent. Morgan is proud to be a part of the True Sky astrological resurrection. She is a passionate observer of the stars and an artist of intentional creations. She has recently learned astrology in 2022 by studying tropical astrology for a year, and then discovered true sidereal in 2023. And that was a pivotal moment in her spiritual journey because she discovered her Ophiuchus placements with profound epiphany and really began to understand the healing forces of the sacred serpent power within. She now dedicates her social influence online by sharing her astrological musings with intentions of invoking remembrance and inspiring connection with our ancient inheritance of divining the stars in the heavenly skies above. Morgan believes in the significance of celestial reference just as much as our ancient ancestors did. She also believes that losing touch with the divinity of the celestial heavens and ceasing to collectively look up at the stars has caused detrimental consequences upon the falsely claimed evolution of the human species, and in which this has manifested in the de-evolution and deadening of human consciousness as a result of this loss. It is very important to her that we, as the True Sky community, come together and share our ancient gnosis with the world in order to spark divine resurrection in remembrance of our innate cosmic sovereignty. Morgan is not only a devotee to the starry skies, but is also a multi-passionate artist. She offers her one-of-a-kind, handmade, upcycled clothing and accessories on Etsy. Each piece is imbued with intention and spiritual symbolism, with astrology as one of her many muses. And she also takes custom commission orders. If you have an idea in mind for a custom piece, feel free to contact her through her Etsy messages, Instagram her on DM, or Facebook Messenger. And you can find her upcycled intentional clothing on her Etsy storefront, Celestial Serpent 33, her Instagram, The Celestial Serpent, and her Facebook of the same name, The Celestial Serpent. For those watching the replay, I will be linking all of those in the description, so you can find that information there. And without further ado, welcome, Morgan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Sachi. I'm very honored to be here. The True Sky Crew is one of the first YouTube channels that I've come across when I was having my True Sky awakening. And yeah, it's really a dream to be sitting here with you right now discussing the transits and true sky.
Yeah, it's a pleasure on my end as well. So if you could just, share a little bit about yourself, your journey, and how you ended up connecting with astrology back in 2022, it sounds like, and then what caused your true sky awakening.
Yeah, so I started out with tropical astrology, as most of us do, and I'm very grateful that I did because I wouldn't be here today, right now, and looking up at the sky and, you know, discovering the truth about my placements. So let's see. Sorry.
That's okay. So
I
I guess
get
how were you introduced to astrology in the first place? Like, what was your first exposure to tropical astrology?
um first exposure was like, just seeing like the horoscopes and everything. And I didn't really know what sign I was because my tropical sign is like on the cusp. So all throughout my life, I was like, am I a Gemini or am I a Cancer? But I always chose Gemini. And it's funny because I turned out to be right. And yeah, so when I discovered tropical and downloaded my chart and everything, I was like, what? I'm a Cancer. So then I tried to, align myself to the tropical chart and everything. And I didn't really have the most pleasant year of doing that. I felt my, I felt like my ego inflated to a point of shattering me into a million pieces, and it ended pretty badly. And I started to not recognize who I was seeing in the mirror anymore. And now I'm starting to gain that back, and it's really a beautiful thing. Um, but when I discovered my true sky placements and discovering Ophiuchus, that was big for me because I have moon and rising in Ophiuchus, and it really showed me parts of my rebirth in drug addiction, because before I was ever into astrology at all, I had nearly a decade long of spending time with opioids. And it was really bad, and I'm very grateful to be here today because of all the things that I've put in my body. And you know, you'd think that I would not be sitting here today, but I am, and it's miraculous. But the crazy part of all this is that while during the last 2 years of my addiction, I became very obsessed with snakes, venomous snakes, in particular. And I would watch all these YouTube videos, learning all I could about venomous snakes. And it really invoked a passion in me. And it was crazy because near the couple last months of my journey in addiction, I actually had the opportunity to meet one of these YouTube creators who is a venomous collector. And it wasn't just like an ordinary meeting where, you'd go see them at like a con or something. It was like he was at a restaurant down the street from my house, and I
Wow.
saw him on Instagram, and I was like, yo, I live right next door. And he's like, come hang out. And I didn't go because I was laying in bed withdrawing in a pool of my own
Mhm.
sweat. So So at that point, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, these are the things that I'm really passionate about, and I can't even pursue them. And so I strongly believe that the spirit of the serpent guided me and not only protected me, but guided me out of drug addiction. Because then I got sober, and that was the last of it. Like, I never looked back. And this time, because during that decade of drug abuse, um, I gotta catch my breath because I'm
Yeah,
but
yeah, take
I'm not used to being on screens and stuff. So yeah, if I'm seem a little nervous, that's why. But
totally okay.
yeah. Um, so where was I going?
Well, while you catch your breath, I think that is such a beautiful story, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that is very common in people with Ophiucan placements, especially having your ascension point there and your moon. So a lot of your lunar programs run through Ophiucan codes, and you are a testament literally to what Ophiuchus stands for, of being able to transmute poisons and understanding literally how to heal, how to take something that poisons you and turn it into your power. And it is miraculous. And I know you've mentioned that you also have some Scorpius energy as well. And as someone who also has Scorpius and Ophiuchus, I'm also, very aware of the intense darkness that you must navigate through, that, you're not alone. So many of my clients have dealt with various addictions, various abuses, extreme trauma, and that's the kind of things that, strangely enough, our soul signs up for.
Yeah,
To, experience and overcome these things so that we can be that medicine for others. And I think your testament is so powerful, not just for your personal resolution and, your specific journey, but really very representative to the magic and wonder and power and healing grace that Scorpius and Ophiuchus can have.
thank you. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot,
Mhm.
but it's beautiful.
It is. And it's the aspect of how we use poison, right? It's like the
Right.
poison can be the antidote sometimes, and venomous snakes and venomous creatures in general teach us that, like, you can have poison in you, but that doesn't mean that it has to kill you to an
Right.
extent, right? Like, they have it within them, they can use it against others. Um, but of course, like, consumption of poisons is always a theme in Scorpius
Yeah.
Ophiuchus. I find that really across the board.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to hop into the transits for the month?
Yeah. Yeah. We can.
All right. So let me pull up the Sky app. So thank you everyone who's joining us live. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Feel free to bring any sort of um, question that you may have at any time to drop it there. And also, as we go through and talk about specific stars, let us know if you have it in your chart, if you have these alignments or activations, or if you have any questions on the stars that we are touching upon. So, we're headed into Libra season, right? The sun is leaving the last little bit of the Virgo star system of the ecliptic and headed into Libra. Morgan, do you want to share some thoughts on Libra season in general, what you feel from it, and kind of how you interpret it?
Yeah. So, well, I want to ask you too, since you are a Libra sun, what do
Yes.
you think about um, Libra being the claws of the scorpion as it originally once was?
Yes, it's very interesting that you asked this because a lot of the information of the specific stars in Libra um, are remnants of Scorpius energy. So Libra, before it was its own constellation, was part Virgo, part Scorpius. So, it's kind of funny because if we go back to the original sky, or the original constellations that they had before Libra was a constellation, I would be a Scorpio again.
Yeah.
So, my old version of me, Sachi the Scorpio, I guess would still apply. But it is interesting, and that's probably a greater topic of various systems that were installed on this planet in terms of um, gold and uh, resource harvesting in many ways, and how Libra represents a lot of those institutions that were put into place. So, Libra is very representative of the world that we are living in now. It does help us understand the financial system, the legal system. It really explains a lot more of the government structures and social structures than Capricornus does, in my opinion, because it literally is, it's the only inanimate object
Yeah.
sign. It's the only thing that's not living. And I think part of that is representative of the deadness that has occurred in our society, and how our immortality that is through Ophiuchus has been hijacked through cutting off emanations of Scorpius, not channeling the wisdom and healing and immortality codes that come through Ophiuchus. And that's part of the deadness that Libra can even embody. Or hold, because and again, part of that is that money stuff, right? It's the systems that work to make money and die, and all that sort of stuff. So some of that stuff does come through Libra. And Libra gets the reputation of being, like, oh, cutesy balance, da da da, surface level. But it's
Yeah.
like, actually no.
No, yeah.
It's so much more intense. But I love
Right.
that question because as a Libra sun, I do think, I mean, I enjoy embodying a Libra sun now after spending so much of my life as a Scorpius. But I think in the original celestial architecture, it still holds so much of the Scorpius energy. I really, really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Because a lot of the specific stars, even the stars' names are named after like the claw of the scorpion, this of the scorpion, that of the scorpion. So
Hmm.
it still holds that resonance, but again, it really does represent, I think it more accurately reflects our society as it is now.
Right, right, right.
So I guess there would be 12 signs.
Yeah,
Libra's not one of them. Ophiuchus is. Well, actually, there would only be 11 then because, yeah,
yeah.
Aries isn't a sign either. It's a topic we need to unravel.
Right, right, right. Um,
Um, but yeah, what are your thoughts on Libra season? And I guess, yeah, Sun in Libra in general. What kind of energy do you get from it?
um,
Or do you
a lot.
reject Libra?
What do you mean reject?
I mean, like, when you see Libra, do you see Scorpius instead of seeing Libra? Like, do you see the old, um, like original template, or are you a firm, I don't want to say believer, but yeah, I guess, do you get more Scorpius energy when you feel into the stars of Libra, or do you feel that Libra energy?
I kind of do feel like both. Um, because like balance is a very important step that needs to be made before stepping into the underworld of Scorpius, and then into the rising of life force, serpent power, and a fucus. Like we need to uh, balance out the masculine and feminine forces in order to successfully pass through there. Because if you're not going to balance that shit out, you're going to have a really rough time. Um, but I was thinking, like, since that it once was the claws of the scorpion, that death does happen here because the claws they're used to grab onto the prey, and then the stinger comes back like forward. So I mean that's just, relating the animal to the signs and all, but I don't know. There's also the whole Egyptian weighing of the hearts ceremony with Maat, and that's taking place in the underworld. So I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's a very,
totally. Oh, go ahead.
well, it's a very mysterious area, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think the investigation part of Scorpius would be in the Libra clause area.
Mm-hmm. That, yeah, I could definitely see that. A lot of stars of Libra are very, very inquisitive. But, you make a really great point of how the claws grab the prey for the stinger to happen. So it's like, it's literally through Libra mechanisms of, um, the systems in play, legal and monetary system, at least how they functioned in the past, the things that were installed on this planet, which we've talked about in a couple episodes, listeners, but the Cygnus star system is the one that has the energy siphoning system that was installed into the planet. But it has since been reclaimed. That's why there's so many millionaires. That's why anyone can be abundant. You don't have to be an evil person to have money anymore. That's such a
Yeah.
false notion. But the systems as they were, right, at Libra is like it was the monetary system and the legal system that really function on death. It had the grip on you, right? Of like,
Yeah.
you can't do this because what you don't have money or it's not legal or whatever it may be, right? It's all these sort of societal norms and surface level stuff of Libra. That's a very astute analysis. I never thought about, yeah, how Libra holds so Scorpius can like
Yeah.
sting. Um, and I love the weighing of the heart after death as well, because the Egyptian mythology is if your heart is burdened, you can't ascend. And you could say that too through the ascension process through Scorpius of the emanations. Like if your heart is so burdened, yeah, you'll probably go to underworlds. You might be reincarnated into lower dimensions, or have more shadow programs that you have to heal through in your next life. But if your heart is, you know, doesn't it weighs less than a feather or whatever, right? There's no burdens on your
Yeah.
heart. It's probably easier to go through that ascension process, um, and be born again as with more of your light body activated and less gunk to have to move through.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what the sun is going to be doing this month. So as I mentioned, we do have the sun that is starting in Libra. We have it moving into the Virgo Libra void. It is going to be activating Zubin al-Janubi around the 5th, peaking on the 6th into the 7th and 8th. So Zubin al-Janubi is known for very persuasive energy. It's known for influence and being influenced. It's associated with data that has a meaning behind it. So currently it's connected to areas of our life like marketing and politics. And activations of Zubin al-Janubi can bring good listener energy into our lives. So it inspires us to listen to people, listen to what people are saying. It also brings people into our lives who hear us. And it has a knack for being able to take the information of what is being said and also what is not being said. So it has that kind of like psychic sense of like, okay, what aren't they saying? Um, and is able to reach conclusions and then use that information to monetize it or capitalize on it. So it really has a great affinity for, again, it's kind of marketing stuff. So if it's like if you have a group of people who are saying, I want this, 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 it's like, okay, hearing to what they say, now I'm going to make a product that's going to help people do this, that can bring a lot of financial success. So with the sun there, there's obviously going to be a lot of light on that. So if you have, inspirational ideas based on what you're hearing or maybe what people aren't saying, that you're able to turn into some sort of financial benefit of yours, that is a really great time to pay attention to, yeah, what you hear. And then we have on November 11th, the sun is going to be aligned with Zubin el-Shamali. So this star is very interesting because it is the only star from Earth that is green, or that we see as green, I should say. So it's a very unique energy to it. Um, and the energetics bring good fortune and riches and very strong financial power. And it's like it has the energy of always being able to cover the tab. So it holds a lot of abundance codes of always having enough and always being able to do what you want financially. Um, and with the sun there, it activates people to want to reach whatever their goals are with a very balanced and stable root chakra. It is a root chakra star. Um, and it's also associated with those who are very spiritual. So if you're a native with this, typically very spiritual, using intuition or psychic power for decision making and weighing things out, using divination practices or astrological analysis to make informed decisions. So, during this time with the sun there, it is definitely recommended to either use some divination practices, tap into your own psyche, or seek counsel from a professional. And it is on 11/11. I'm not a huge fan of Gregorian calendar numerics, but it's still pretty amazing. Um, it's still pretty amazing that, yeah, for those who want to make a wish, I guess. Yeah, I'm not really into the Gregorian stuff, but sometimes, it's like, why not use it if it's there? And I'm seeing that. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Nicole. Thanks so much for joining us. I just noticed that there was some comments, so thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
And then we have the sun continuing on, and it's going to be doing a light activation of Zubin Elakrab up here around the 15th, 16th, maybe even into the 17th. And that is a star that is known for getting to the point. It's a very strong truth teller, even if the delivery is abrasive. So with the sun there, we can have some very uncomfortable truths that can come out during this time, things that are coming to light. Things might be brought to your attention that are kind of like nails on the chalkboard, but you need to hear it anyway. And then we have the Sun-Mercury conjunction that is occurring on the 19th. Morgan, what are your thoughts on Sun conjunct Mercury in Libra? And if you have any comments on any of the stars as well.
Yeah, and that's on the truth star, right? Where it's conjunct, or
So they will have just passed Zubin Elakrab, so that energy can still, is still around for sure. But it's not a specific alignment.
okay. Well, that's cool. It's since it's around there and it's right before the gates of the underworld in Scorpius. Yeah, maybe there's gonna be truth coming to light, and mental, really like getting ready, preparing to go into the subconscious.
I totally feel that, yeah. It's kind of like the uncomfortable truths that like it's the precursor of the shadow work that's about to happen. Like, dang bitch, you about to go deep in the darkness. Okay, like you get the jarring message, and now it's like you kind of get to the top of the roller coaster and you get that message, and it's like, oh boy, woo,
Yeah.
getting ready for the drop. Um, yeah, Sun Mercury conjunction in Libra. Typically, I would say is like a really great time to have conversations with, people who you care about, people who you're really close with, one-on-one relationships. Um, but again, they may take on a little bit more of a serious tone. Again, this notion that Libra is surface level and things like that, it's like tropical falseness because Libras get deep. I know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we have the sun leaving Libra, moving into Scorpius. It is going to be activating Disheba and Graphias here, and then moving more towards the activation of Graphias as we get later into the month of the 25th. And Disheba, we can talk about first because it's kind of the earlier activation of it before it gets primarily Graphias energy. And Disheba is very connected to the void. So it is a void star. There's a lot of space that wants to and be filled there. And it's known for being in the shadows. So it's a star that is known to have very dimmed light. So with the sun there, even still, it's going to be a bit of a darker day. It's like even the brightest light there is going to bring a certain level of darkness. And it is connected to intense psychic power that can only be activated through the underground excavation of the underworlds and the lower dimensions. People who have Scorpius and Ophiuchus placements, well, specifically Ophiuchus placements, and especially if you have Disheba activated in your chart, like this is HE double hockey sticks level bullshit. And as Zubida of Fabi Dragon mentioned when she guest starred on our last episode when we had our first Disheba activation, she was mentioning that it's like when you're in that void of just pure darkness, that's really when your true sight turns on. It's like when you can't see anything, that's when your third eye really opens. And I really love that imagery because that is the energetics of Disheba and the type of psychic activations that occur there. Um, and so, like, a great activity to do around this time would be like going to a deprivation tank or a float tank where your senses are deprived and do some meditating. I personally am a huge fan of float tanks. I mean, for anyone who hasn't gone, you can turn the lights on, you can have sound if you want. But really, just laying in that suspension with no light and no sound is just, I love it. I love it. Have you ever been to a float tank, Morgan?
No, but I've always wanted to.
Oh, they are amazing. They're amazing. I
Maybe I
really
need to
high,
find one
yeah, I
around
highly
this
recommend
time.
it. Yeah, thankfully there's two locations near me. So I used to be a member and go every month, sometimes twice a month. Um, but then I switched to physical massages because I like that better right now. But it's really great, and you never know what will happen there. Like every
Right.
experience has been very different for me. But anyway, so yeah, expect, the sun to kind of be dimmed around this time, even though the light is being brought there. So people who are in, deep darkness with the sun moving there, you can expect to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is great. But for people who are, in the light, expect it to be a bit dimmed around this time. And as it's activating Graphias the 25th, even 26th, um, Graphias is a star of cycles. So with the sun there, it's going to shine light on a lot of cycles that we need to pay attention to, especially those that keep anger in our heart, which is so interesting because, Antares is the heart of the Scorpion. But Graphias is also very much connected to the heart. So it's very interesting that you mentioned that, Morgan, about the heart being weighed and the Egyptian mythological history of that, because um, yeah, this is literally about anger that is stuck in your heart. Graphias is known for very aggressive and assertive energy, but more with like overt force rather than the poisonous effects that Scorpius is known for. So it's very much more Martian driven than Pluto driven in terms of Scorpius energy. Um, and it's a star that's known for very skillful fighting, studying the art of war or manipulation, strategies, enjoying puzzles, things like that. Anything that requires like studying trends. So even could be things like day trading or investing, or things like debating or fighting or wrestling, or anything like really competitive, or even gambling in those type of events rather than like actually engaging with them. Um, it's kind of a bit of a brutal star. So it definitely, with the sun there, can shed some light on more aggressive, merciless areas of life, or those who enjoy carnage or bloodshed. Um, for those who notice trends and like to bet on things, sports betting, I guess, is a very mild tone of that. It's definitely a time to trust the trends that you see if you're engaging in anything like that.
Wow.
And then we have the sun moving into the Scorpius Ophiuchus energy, moving into the Ophiuchus star system as we reach the end of the month. On the 30th, it's already going to be activating Ophiuchus here. So it's activating Omega Ophiuchi at the end of the month, which is connected to hidden truths that are in plain sight, societal norms that are pushed and accepted to the point of becoming social gaslighting. So with the sun there, the light is shown on those types of hidden truths and are highlighting things that are attempted to be hidden. Like Ophiuchus is a perfect example of itself, of people saying like, "Oh, it's not a real sign. Bitch, it's on the ecliptic." Like, yes, it is. The sun is there. And it also, something, this star specifically is associated with um like personal issues regarding frustration, fear of going forward with your feelings, vulnerability, and taking life too seriously. So, with the sun there, it assists us with healing all of those, especially with the undertones of gaslighting involved in this star. It's like, if we're being gaslit, it makes us frustrated, right? We may have difficulty moving forward with what we feel to be true because other people are telling us it's wrong. Or trying to put doubt in us, making us doubt our intuition and things like that. And that can cause, having issues of being vulnerable because you may be afraid of persecution or being told that you're wrong or being further gaslit. And all of that can harden us, right? And make us take things too seriously and forget to enjoy life and be silly and things like that. So, with the sun activating Omega Ophiuchi, it's really pointing to those areas that may need healing. And for those who have already healed those types of wounds, it'll be, a lot easier. But typically, if you already carry that medicine within you, that means that someone is probably bound to connect with you where, you can help them with that medicine.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, that's the beginning of Ophiuchus season, I guess. Do you want to share a little bit about how you feel of the sun transiting through Scorpius and like the beginning of Ophiuchus season?
Yeah, so with the sun going through Scorpius, we're going into the darkness there. Um, a lot of fears are gonna come up, and but it's only for such a short period of time, you know. And then we get hit with that first leg of a fucus that's riding the scorpion. So it's kind of like you either face your fears head on and gain the power through that, or you drown in them.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of feeling that right now with being on this podcast because this is one of my fears to be like seen like publicly live and speaking and but I'm doing it anyways and it feels great and I know great things are gonna come from, you know, just getting through it.
Absolutely. And I'm so proud of you for overcoming your fears. And that's such a, like, all fear programs, well, most fear programs come from this area of the sky of, like, it's all the shadows through Scorpius and Ophiuchus of, yeah, fear, especially, with the gaslighting theme of Ophiuchus. There are so many things that we are gaslit from the time we are born. About why you shouldn't shine your light, why you have to hide, why you shouldn't be authentic and vulnerable and things like that. And it is so much to overcome, and you're doing it. You
Yeah.
literally are doing it, and it's so beautiful because, some people stay in that darkness forever, and I know it's not easy to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Really
it
tough.
can be easy staying in the darkness too, and that's never good.
Yes, yeah. It is easy because it's the comfortability, right? And I find that a lot of Scorpiuses can find that comfortability in the void, especially if they have um Desheba activations, because it's like you're already in that dim light, and it's the comfortability almost of like staying in the womb of like before you're really birthed or rebirthed. Um, yeah, it's like the numbness of comfort that
Yeah,
of like stinging yourself basically, right? It's that self-sabotage energy that Ophiuchus really or that Scorpius is associated with.
yeah,
And I keep going back to the imagery that you shared of like how the claws hold the prey still. And I think it's so interesting because the new rendition of the claws, at least in the picture, not necessarily the asterism, but it kind of shows it like holding Ophiuchus's leg. So it's almost like the only way that um you know, it's like, okay, might have I know this is not exactly how it works in terms of venom and anti-venom, but like if Ophiuchus were stung by Scorpius, it could have the antidote from the snake, kind of, which is energetically kind of how it works. Like you
yeah,
have to master the snake to get the scorpion sting out of the body.
absolutely, yeah.
We have Sonia and Organic Skies Forever saying amazing, pushing through, expressing your truth. Love from the UK, celebrating you, Morgan. Loving all of the support and love here. Thank you all. And Sonia also says social gaslighting is the perfect description of Ophiuchus in the true sky. True dat. True dat.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're so proud of you, Morgan. You are
Oh,
amazing. And
thank you.
again, just a living testament of Scorpius Ophiuchus energy in the most beautiful, beautiful ways.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Um, do you have any more thoughts on Scorpius season moving into Ophiuchus season before we head to the moon stuff?
Um, Not at the moment.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely be talking more about this area of the sky for sure.
Yeah.
It is not going anywhere. It's pretty much the highlight of everything. All right, let's see. So we have our full moon in Aries, which is really exciting. Well, kind of, I guess. Because even though, again, it's not a zodiac, it's still a constellation. We still have transits there from things other than the sun. So, um, again, using the true sky, we use the real celestial placements. If the moon is in the Aries star system, then that's where it is. Whether it's on the ecliptic or not. But I find it interesting because Aries is so small. Let's just like take a look at how little it is. It gives me big Chihuahua energy, just like small and like For anyone who knows, like, people who have like true Aries placements, they can definitely be a little bit chihuahua, like tiny, mighty, tiny but mighty. But we don't have new moons and full moons in Aries every single year. I've
Right.
noticed that a lot since True Sky Awakening. So the fact that we have, an actual real Aries full moon is like, wow, okay, this is a special time.
Yeah.
Um, so we have the full moon in Aries activating Hamal here. But before we talk about that, I guess Morgan, any thoughts on full moon in Aries? What kind of energy do you get?
Yeah, I love this area of the sky. It's very interesting because it really is a blend between Cetus and Aries, but this full moon is
Yes.
leaning more towards Aries. And usually when there are full moon in Aries, I love them. They're very passionate and driven. And it feels like something new is coming. And yeah.
Yeah, definitely, especially because Aries does denote the Cetus is the end, right? Or kind of like the infinity point there, and Aries represents that new birth. Um, which it is activating the star Hamal here. And Hamal is a star about dealing with life head on. Very fast-paced energy is there, a very sense of urgency. So you can kind of liken it to um, like the positive feedback mechanism of going into labor, right? It's like, okay, well, this is happening, like it's gonna happen, and there's kind of no turning back. You got to deal with it head on. So it's definitely that new birthing energy for Hamal. And the energy of the star materializes as very easily taking action towards your desires and goals. The low vibe of this star is overworking, burnout, even violence. I mean, Aries can get that stereotype for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, and Hamal is known for being very sharp in tone, as well as in terms of like being very keen in sense of like of a sense of their surroundings. So very, very perceptive. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the caustic nature of Zubin Alakrab of Aries, or I'm sorry, of Libra, of like being very sharp in their tone sometimes. So that definitely is kind of a theme around this time. And Hamal will stand up for itself. Like it will use that sharpness and yeah, always stands up for itself, always stands up for other people that it cares about and what it perceives as truth. But the shadow aspect of this star is the energetics can facilitate this relentless pursuit of like offense and defense. So while of course it's so important to stand up in truth, of course it's so important to stand up for yourself and what you believe in and stick up for others and things like that. It's like if your whole life is a constant battle, the problem is you. Life is not meant to be a constant battle and struggle and things like that. Yes, there are certain things that we have to battle and struggle through, but this full moon is going to help us release these programs that make us think something's always a battle uphill in one way or another. Um, this star is also very connected to reincarnation, but before re-entering as a life form. So this full moon is going to highlight the burdens that we agreed to adopt during this lifetime to progress our soul's expression and expansion, which Morgan, we talked about a little bit of like, yeah, like the contracts that you agree to embody through Scorpius and Ophiuchus is just not fun. It's not fun. It's like some of the deepest, darkest soul work that can ever be done.
Yeah.
Um, and Hamal is the energetics of like that contract of like doing that contractual work you um before you reincarnate, before you come to this planet. And Hamal is known to hold the death wound. So it holds karma of past life deaths and unfinished businesses that have to be carried out in this lifetime. So that's a lot of how those contracts come into this lifetime sort of stuff. Um, so anytime we have like an activation or alignment of Hamal, it reveals these cross lifetime connections and assists us in accessing this past life information. Um, like an example, and this is a very like plain Jane one, but it can materialize as like a birthmark that you have that's connected to a past life. So, for example, having like a large birthmark on your arm, and in your previous life, maybe you were stabbed there, or having a phobia based on some sort of past life death. So, for example, having like a fear of heights because you fell from a height, or having fear of water because you drown and things like that. So, with a full moon, we can release these energies. It's bringing reflection to them so that we can release them from our past lives that are influencing us in a negative way, especially those that are hindering us from actually taking action towards our goals. Or those that drive us to this overwork or burnout or even violence, perhaps all the other Hamal type energy that comes through. And interestingly enough, this star is also connected to Turkey, the country. So pay attention to anything that might happen with Turkey around this full
Interesting.
moon. Yeah. Um, and then talking a little bit about the aspects, we have the sun opposing the moon, of course, or the moon opposing the sun, as all full moons are. And the sun's going to be activating Zubin al-Janubi. So again, that's the star of the persuasion and influence. And it's also a star that is associated with our internal yang, and that's mirrored back into external yang. So the light that's being shown on this energy is helping balance out that Hamal energy. And, Hamal, very action oriented, Zubin al-Janubi, listening star, persuasion star. So, and again, it listens with the intention of being able to use information in some sort of way. So it's kind of a nice balance of like, okay, I'm listening to the information so I can use it. And Hamal is like, okay, now I know actually how to take action. So the polarity there is really helpful because sometimes, some people they just listen, oh, I'm going to do this, but then they don't take action. Whereas if Hamal's out of balance, it's like, I'm just taking action to take action. And again, that's when that burnout and stuff happens, when they don't really know why they're doing it. They don't have a strategy or plan, which Zubin al-Janubi helps kind of balance that out because it has more of a structured notion of where it wants to get and why it's doing certain things. At this time, we also have a grand trine. So it's going to be between Jupiter, which is in Gemini, over here, activating Al-Kirkab of Gemini here, and then also Jupiter and Mars. Well, there's actually two grand trines because Neptune and Saturn are further away. So Mars is going to be betwixt Libra and Scorpius, and then we have Neptune and Saturn here creating two different trines. So, Morgan, do you have thoughts on this trine?
Um, um, sorry,
If
I'm
you don't, that's
blanking.
okay. No, that's okay. Well, I'll share a little bit about my thoughts on it. So, between Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, which is retrograding, and Neptune, which is retrograding, it's really amazing because the harmonious flow of the movements and action through Mars, right? Mars is all about taking action. It's the ruler of Aries. So it feels like this is a great grand trine to really be honing in on that Martian energy. And, you know, it loves, um, Mars really loves action orientation, and Jupiter, which is involved, really loves travel. So there could be some grid work happening through Jupiter. Abundance codes comes through, perspective shifts come through, and the long-term goals of Saturn, the imagination of Neptune. It just feels like there are some very there's just a really great energy flow in making sure that you're taking aligned action based on the information that you're actually receiving, rather than just, oh, let me do a shot in the dark kind of thing. Um, Although, again, Saturn and Neptune are both retrograding, so there can be some adjustments in terms of long-term planning or even, Neptune's visualization of what is really spiritually aligned for you to take action on. So if you have had, a vision or a plan or whatever for a while, but during this time you're getting new information that is just like, oh, that seems so much more aligned because again, that flow is just happening. Jupiter is helping, through expansion, and Mars is helping with like clearing the path. Then just take that path, even if it doesn't look like what you had previously thought it would look like. Um, and then, are you ready to go to the new moon, or do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, let's go to the new moon.
Okie doke. Let's see. All right, November 20th. That one, 7. All righty. We have the new moon in Libra. So, thoughts on new moon in Libra, and the sun is going to be conjunct Mercury very tightly that day as well. So,
Yeah.
thoughts on that, Morgan?
Yeah, hmm, a lot of balancing needs to be happening in the mind for the lunar month ahead in order to properly get through all these dark transits happening that are going to be happening through Scorpius into Ophiuchus. Um, is that the area where the truth star is?
So the sun and Mercury are going to be activating Zubin Alakrab, which is that like tough truth teller, very
Yeah.
abrasive energy. So yeah, that's when the sun and Mercury are going to be. It's right after the sun's activation, like major activation, but again, it's still holding that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So we can definitely expect that. Although the moon is more activating Zubin Hakrabi, which I do want to make a note here for people who Google these stars. So Zubin Hakrabi, even though that's what it is called here, um, a lot of star information will show this as Zubin Hakrabi. That's another issue with a lot of stars in general, but specifically Libra, is that they've all been named a lot of the same names. So having that uniformity is very, very difficult uh, to find. So just be careful when you're Googling certain names. Make sure you look at the picture and see that, you're looking up the right star. But this Zubin Hakrabi specifically, um, as it is known now, is a very up and coming type energy. So it can materialize as like an upward ramp, but not one that's like a struggle uphill. It's more almost like an escalator up in some sort of way. Um, so the aspect of like being liked or connecting to others, even in big ways like fame and fortune type energy, come through Zubin Hakrabi here. And this star has a very Leo-like energy to it. And it's ruled by the sun as well. So with the new moon here, it's bringing a lot of fresh emotional energy regarding being seen in a way, especially with the understanding that you will shine even brighter in the future. Again, it has this up and coming energy, so it's like, you're shining, but it's going to get even brighter into the future, which I think is a really important energetics to have in Libra, especially right before going through the darkness, is like, okay, I know after this I'm going to shine brighter, because it's kind of like the deeper your roots go into the darkness, the higher your branches can reach into the light. Um, and that's the kind of energy that's there. And interestingly enough, this is also a root chakra star. So it focuses on a lot of stability and groundedness and safety within the body and on this planet, that is really necessary to be the foundation for the um, more Leo energetics that come through this star of fame and fortune and things like that. So um, there's like an internal inner safety mechanism um, there through the root chakra in this Libra star. And that really helps Libra to be, actively and accurately balancing, holding, juxtaposing ideas and notions. Um, so I really love the energy of this new moon because it's bringing groundedness into the air element, which is not, it doesn't happen quite often because Zubin Hakrabi is so far off the ecliptic. So the fact that, the moon is one of the celestial bodies that will help bring that energy in. So again, it's a lot of the emotional body that's going to be going through this energy that is bringing in that emotional safety into the body to be able to deal with things that are imbalanced and bring balance to them, to hold multiple things. And again, that can lead to fame and fortune. And on the lower scale, it's more just like being approachable and liked and being able to make connections with people. Even with kind of the opposite energy of the abrasive energy of Zubin Crab, which does get that reputation. But even though, this star, it is very abrasive and caustic in nature, but it typically natives who have that there have a very good reputation and are very well liked by people who put truth in very high esteem. So, with the sun and Mercury activating there, it's like part of that is like, okay, the authenticity of the truth that you're speaking here through Zubin Crab, it's actually going to bring the safety through Zubin Hakrabi. Um, and that can lead to you connecting with the right individuals. Because of course, not everyone is meant to be connected to you, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then we do have an opposition here. So we have this new moon that is in opposition to Uranus that is still activating the Pleiades. And yeah, and it's retrograding still. And so there can be some, community and group relationships that can cause some polarity here. Again, it's like the personal truths, or even rise to fame, or, people seeing that your light is only going to get brighter can really discomfort others and trigger them. So, because Uranus is retrograding and activating the Pleiades, this can be groups who use technology that's out of alignment with nature, people who follow science as it currently stands, like as a religion that can do no wrong, even some like alien extremists, that believe that aliens are here to save us, or, leaving Earth is the solution to the problems and things like that. So those can be specific areas of pushback. And then we do have a grand trine with Jupiter. So it's the new moon is grand trining with Jupiter again in Gemini, activating El-Kirkab, and then again with Neptune and Saturn over there in the Pisces star system. Technically, Pisces seat is void. So this new emotional energy that is coming through the new moon in Libra is going to be harmoniously flowing with that expansive energy of Jupiter. That can cause some perspective shifts, perception changes, new beliefs or ideals that might come online. And it's also, flowing with harmonious through Saturn's restrictions. So again, it's like maybe you realize that you have you have to restrict your access or restrict certain people's access to you, whether it's a group or individuals, because we do have that Uranus group energy plus Libra one-on-one type thing. And also there's that, focusing on your goals and the wealth accumulation energy of Saturn, and then Neptune, spiritual alignment, imagination, and access to the ineffable that can come through Neptune, all that sort of stuff. So, but yet again, Saturn and Neptune are both retrograding. So there could be some reassessments and readjustments going on with that energy flow through the new moon. So that can be super, super exciting. It definitely feels like kind of a breath of fresh air a little
Yeah.
bit before the dark.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Sounds like it's going to be a good one.
Uh-huh, I am too. Um, and then so we're starting off the month with Mercury in Scorpius. And it's going to be traveling through Scorpius and then starting its Mercury retrograde. So I guess before we get into the retrograde, Morgan, what are your thoughts on Mercury and Scorpius? If you could talk a little bit about it. And I am going to step away just for a minute real quick, but I'll be right back.
Okay. So I think with Mercury in Scorpius, we're going to be dredging up a lot of fears and uncomfortable, dark things that we don't like to see or feel, but it needs to be. I think it's pretty cool that we're having Mercury retrograde from Scorpius to back into Libra. It's basically showing us how these things that we fear and are uncomfortable with in our mind, we need to go back and balance that out a bit. Yeah, Mercury in Scorpius is extremely psychic, powerful, a very powerful mind. Yeah. How's everyone doing tonight? I am nervous as heck, but I'm powering through. And yeah, this is all part of it. This is part of healing, because this is something that I want to do, but it is scary and it can be done. Hi Sachi, I see you're back.
Hey, yes, I am back. We also had Sonia saying that she didn't realize that her birthday was on the new moon. Feels very expensive for anyone who's a writer and crafting words to create art. I definitely feel that. Yeah. Feels really good. But yes, back to Mercury. Please continue your thoughts.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about the retrograde happening. I'm looking forward to that. I love the retrograde. I am a native retrograde, just like yourself.
Uh-huh.
And Mercury retrograde, that is. And during this time, I actually feel the opposite. I feel like I can speak better and think more clearly. And I think that Mercury retrogrades are actually like an upgrade of the mind. And yeah, I look forward to it.
I totally agree too. And I wonder if that's because we both have natal Mercury retrogrades. Because I know for some people it's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's an up level because it really helps shift things for you. It's like I guess in a world where a lot of things are backwards, when your native planet is going backwards, things are actually forward.
Right.
Um, Especially because I'm Gemini rising, so Mercury is my ruling planet as well, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um yeah, I really like Mercury retrogrades. It really puts a lot of things in perspective for me as well. And my natal
Definitely.
Mercury retrograde is in Scorpius, so this will be my Mercury return kind of in a way. Um,
Yeah.
so that will be exciting. Oop. So we have Mercury that starts its journey activating Desheba of Scorpius, and then continues to move through Scorpius and will activate El Niat right before its retrograde. So El Niat is a star that is connected to darkness as well. No surprise there. It's born dimmed, very similar to Desheba, and must have the fog cleared for full potential to be activated. It's associated with the death and rebirth process that happens through Scorpius in the lower dimensions, but as it ascends, that death and rebirth process turns to evolution. So it's no longer a painful or extreme process like death and rebirth is. Change just happens on a continuum upward rather than this destructive force that is used for new creation. So things can get a little more peaceful. For scorpions, oh, thank goodness. And that's through
Yeah.
the power of El Niat. Um, and so, in terms of like health and the communication aspect of Mercury here, this stimulates the energy of Elniat that deals with the arteries. So, Elniat means arteries of the heart of the scorpion. So, the star is connected to the arteries of the body, which carry oxygenated blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. So, energetically, it's the air element, right? It's the oxygen that is in the blood, an oxygen air element that's communication. So that's being emanated from the heart to the rest of the body in the electromagnetic gradient of the body. So it's like, what air element is your heart telling the rest of your body? Which I think ties into perfectly with how you started the episode, Morgan, of like the weighing of the heart. It's
Yeah.
like, do you have this burden on your heart that is emanating through the rest of your body, through the blood, but also through the electromagnetic gradient. And with El Niat, like the more love that you have in your heart, the better that it is. Of course, it kind of seems, like a no-brainer, but most people, natives, and I think in general, but especially if you have this in your chart, like have a very dense darkness that has to be cleared from the body, specifically the heart. So this can be a lot of heartbreak, betrayal, things that crush and break your heart. Definitely not an easy star to have in the chart. Um, Even though Antares has that a bit more, but this is how it affects you, like how the air element, the stories that you're telling yourself about those experiences actually influence your field and your body. Um, but Mercury stations retrograde on the 9th. It will continue its retrograde. And then it has this little, well, I don't want to call it little. It has a conjunction with Mars here as it's retrograding. Um, Morgan, do you have thoughts on Mercury retrograding, conjuncting Mars in Scorpius?
Yeah. Hmm. So this can look like um, thoughts of things that make you angry in the darkness of your mind
Yeah.
can come up with this. But not only angry, passion too, because Scorpius is very passionate, and so is Mars. And this is in the retrograde, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, maybe going back to past dark experiences that really, really angered you, or really, made you passionate about something.
Yeah. And sometimes that can be the same thing, like the thing that pisses you off. or that broke your heart is actually stimulating you to follow the passion that you have.
Yeah.
Or, like if, for example, if your heart was broken by someone, it's like maybe you want to help other people that their heart never gets broken, and you let them know, what to look out for in, narcissistic individuals or unstable individuals or people who aren't serious about commitment kind of thing. But obviously it can be like so many different flavors. Obviously, Scorpius, it's probably a little bit darker than that.
Yeah.
Um, which we have some more people in the chat saying you're doing a great job, Morgan. You're doing awesome. They really
Thank
resonate with
you.
your perspective of Mercury retrograde. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Sagittarium, and Nicole. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah, Mercury, I mean, Mars being a co-ruler of Scorpius, and then uh, being conjunct with Mercury retrograde in Scorpius, it definitely feels like any, the stereotypical Mercury retrograde stuff that can happen of like misunderstanding or miscommunication. Like, I feel like it can kind of get blown out of proportion. You really got to be careful of people who might be very quick to anger or get triggered because either they can't comprehend what you're saying or they're misinterpreting something. Um, but it's not that you have to baby people with the way that you're saying things or anything like that, but just be aware that that Martian energy can definitely materialize as some of the darker themes through Scorpius. But Morgan, I love your emphasis on that passion because it definitely is a very passionate time, especially those who want to like speak very passionately with their words through Mercury. Um, it can be a great time, yeah, for writing and communicating and public speaking with flair and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely a great time. So we have Mercury continuing its retrograde. It's going to be activating Desheva and Graphias again around, yeah, 15th, peaking 16th into the 17th. And again, that can bring some darker tones to the mental health on the shadow side. But it can also, through Desheba, it can stimulate that psychic sight. So it's like whatever darker tones the mind is going into, it can help you see better with your third eye. So definitely some major third eye activations going on here. Um, and also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but Desheba is known for researching into secret or hidden things. So natives who have this in their chart, they often crave information. They can be things like investigative journalists or detectives and things like that. So, with that inquisitive Mercury energy there, those are bound to be themes during this activation. So there may be more people looking into some things. And obviously, with the societal political climate or whatever that's going on, like there are a lot of things being revealed to the masses that, many of us have known for so long. But it seems like it's just going to start to be normalized and, kind of more of the masses are really going to be kind of looking into um, maybe what we might consider rabbit holes or things like that. And there could be some big investigative journalism revelations around this time as well. And then again, that Graphias energy is more of the competitive, aggressive energy there. So, but again, also like noticing trends and debating. So with the mercurial energy, those can kind of come through in more communication. In terms of the health aspect, Graphias is associated with the blood. As I kind of mentioned, they have like an affinity for carnage in some sort of way. Like natives tend to have an affinity for blood in some kind of way. It can materialize as like blood magic for some, or enjoying gore, or things like being a surgeon or a blood technician. It's not all gloomy or weird. Um, but with Mercury there, it might be a good time to like get some blood work done, have a few different perspectives, take a look at your panel or something like that. Um, or maybe, you know, there's bound to be some blood stuff going on. For those of you who are menstruating during this time. A very, very powerful time to be using your
Ooh.
blood in any sort of like ritualistic manner. Remember, blood magic does not mean you have to murder anything. Okay. I feel like a lot
No.
of people assume that when they hear blood magic, it's like, okay, you're gonna kill a bunny or something. It's like, no.
No. It's not
But
necessary.
exactly, like that's death magic. That's different. Um,
Yeah.
but then we have the Mercury is going to continue its retrograde and then have another conjunction on the 20th, which again, new moon energy. So it's like quite a big kind of shebang that's going on during this time. And again, it's going to be activating Zubin Crab. So again, that's that star known for truth telling, very caustic in nature, very abrasive sometimes, hard to accept information that reaches you during this activation. Can be considered divine messages that are meant to reach you so that you can embrace it as an honest truth. Because sometimes it's like, if the universe is telling you nicely, maybe you don't want to hear it. But then finally, when it's kind of like, it's like, oh shit, okay, I gotta listen. So Zubin Crab energy can definitely come in at that time. And then we have Mercury moving back into Libra. And then on the like 23rd, 24th, 25th, maybe even 26th, we have it's definitely peaking on the 25th. Well, I guess yeah, 1 a.m. We have the Mercury Venus conjunction in Libra. Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus in Libra. Morgan, what are your thoughts on that?
This is really giving the weighing of the heart ceremony, I think.
Ah,
Yeah. Because
I totally
Venus,
feel that.
love, the heart, Mercury, the mind. So now this is really crunch time of, does your heart weigh as light as a feather? How are you going to succeed in the underworld?
Exactly. Are you going to get dragged down, or are you going to be in the upper level of the underworld, if that's a thing?
Right.
I meant to ask you this at the beginning because of something that you said, but I forgot until now. Have you seen the show called Chaos on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Do you have Netflix?
Yeah, or no, I don't have Netflix, but I have like a streaming thing that I
Oh,
can basically get anything.
okay, awesome. Good for you. Um, yeah, there's a show called Chaos. It's Kaos. Anybody in
Okay.
the chat, if you've seen it, let me know. Jeff Goldblum is the main character. It basically describes kind of like the Libra systems that we were talking about that were installed, the monetary and kind of slave systems, I guess we'll say,
Yeah.
um, on Earth and how it's, oh, I don't know if you can hear that when my alarm is going off. Um, how these beings that consider themselves God basically enslaved humanity, and basically how their structures are falling. And they do it through the lens of Greco-Roman gods. So Jeff Goldblum is Zeus. You have Hades ruling the underworld, and they show basically how they cut off immortality of humans and how they're siphoning the immortality through basically kind of looshing, I guess, but they do it through this like elixir that looks like
Wow.
water, and then they're causing death of humans and selling them this notion that, death is the best end all be all, praise Hades. And um, they develop this thing called the frame that helps them recycle their energy. So it kind of like shows the samsara system, I guess, in a way,
Wow.
in a very real way. And what's really interesting about the show is it was number one on Netflix like multiple weeks in a row, and they canceled it like, oh, like a month, I want to say, after it aired. And they were saying because it didn't get enough views, but I think it's because like they were telling too much truth about what's actually happening
Yeah,
on the planet. Like it
totally.
was really revelation of the method, like to a very, very detailed extent. Um, and yeah, so I highly recommend you watch it because I think it touches a lot upon the themes that we're talking about, literally embodying the Libra, Scorpius, Ophiuchus area of the sky, and how our immortality is still being siphoned from us by entities and kind of like the systems that they put in place. Really recommend it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very interested. I'll be checking that out.
Yeah, it's really good. And let me know what you think. Yeah, it's a really, really profound show. There is a little bit of gore in it. So personally, I don't like gore, so I have to close my eyes. There's a couple scenes I can't like watch.
Yeah.
But so, trigger warning for gore stuff in that. And then there are also some like very disturbing uh themes and things that happen in it. So just kind of be prepared for that. But,
Yeah,
I'm sure
Hollywood,
nothing scares you. I know that if you have Scorpio Fucus in your chart, there's not much that can rattle. Um, but I really hope you enjoy the show. And for any listener who hasn't seen it, I really highly recommend it. It is very, very profound. Um, yes, it's called Chaos. It's spelled Kaos. We have some people in the chat. Sagittarium says they love Chaos. Um, yeah, Kaos. It's on Netflix or maybe it's on some other streaming services, but it was a Netflix original. It's so profound. It really just shows exactly what's going on. And Jeff Goldblum, is kind of a treasure. Um, and Sonia says that she needs to get blood work as a family. Awesome. Well, perfect timing. Yes, always so profound. Totally, totally agree.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head here with the Mercury Venus conjunction. Like definitely weighing of the heart there. And it's like right in the middle too.
Yeah.
It's like really kind of a recalibration point of head and heart, which is so, so important. And
Yeah,
making
and
sure that they're aligned.
right. Yeah, and it's sad because people who practice tropical are totally missing out on all this.
It's true. I know the distortion fields there are just so sad. Like literally living on a complete different timeline.
Right,
And part
right.
of it is the lack of free will that they embody of like thinking that they can't change or all these
Hmm.
things that the forces that be
Right.
thrive on.
I think that there's malevolent entities attached to that system because
Absolutely.
I experienced psychic attacks, the worst I ever have in my life while aligning myself with that system.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, the worst energy that has ever been cast towards me was when I was speaking out against the tropical algorithm. I had my first death threat.
Wow.
Yeah, by someone who literally called themselves an agent of Yahweh. So no fucking surprise there. Um, and it's like, yeah, that entity, canonically known for infanticide, genocide, murder, incest, genital
Hmm.
mutilation of children,
Absolutely. Yep.
like blood sacrifices, like it's all there in the text. Like this entity is not a good one. Um, and through that entity, the tropical algorithm was created to help that institution control the timeline and
Yeah.
calendar. So, I always
It's a
tell
big
people
mess
truth is,
itself.
yeah, like truth is stranger than fiction sometimes, especially when it comes to the tropical algorithm. And, especially when I first had my True Sky Awakening, when I realized what it was and where it was getting its power from and what it was giving its power to, I was so alarmed. And, I'm a proponent of free will. So if you want to use the tropical algorithm, you can. I think it's sad and weird, but, you still have free will, but you should be making an informed decision to use that algorithm. You should know what it is. You should know where it came from and where it's giving its power to, not using it
Right.
by default. Like that was
Yeah.
my biggest thing is like if you're using it just because and you don't have a good reason or just the reasons that other people have told you and you've never actually looked into it, like that's a red flag.
Yeah,
That's like being born
absolutely.
into a religion that you never question, which I
Hmm.
find, yeah, that is very tropical algorithmy. It's just and it's another cult.
Yeah.
But I digress. I mean, we could talk shit on the tropical algorithm all day, but it's already poop filled anyway. So
Right.
um anyway, okay, let's okay, so Mercury is going to continue its retrograde and is going to um keep yeah. So it'll end its retrograde and yeah, it's going to stay in Libra for the rest of the month and it will continue to move forward in Libra once we get through December. But let's move to Venus.
Will you excuse me for just one moment?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Oh, yeah, Venus is bringing up the back. So we have Venus here. It is beginning November in Virgo, bringing up the back. It is activating Spica of Virgo. This is the star that we just had activated with the new moon on the 21st of September. So you can expect Venusian energy to come through in regards to themes that occurred during that new moon time. Spica is a healing star. It's associated with natural modalities of health. It is, the notion that food is medicine. It often highlights our consumption habits. With Venus here, it's going to be like what you love to consume, whether it's food or media or whatever it is. And Spica is a sister star of Vendomatrix. So we talked a lot about Vendomatrix in our last episode. So if you want that information, you can go get it there. A brief synopsis is that Vendomatrix is the energetic spiral of our choices. So if you've seen that upward and downward spiral, that is Vendomatrix. So Spica is the physical manifestations of how our choices through Vendomatrix happen. So how we are healing and how we are making choices that are they aligned with our ascension or our descension. So Spica rules over, or is ruled over, however you want to phrase it, because it's kind of both ways, our ascension and descension points in our charts. So while Venus is activating Spica, you can notice in Venusian themes if you're ascending or descending based on the certain themes that are happening on your ascension or descension point. Um, and Spica also brings that because it is, again, it's a sister star of Vendomatrix, so it's the choices and what happens. Spica is that energy of you reap what you sow. So that can be metaphorically or actually physical in terms of harvest, which Virgo rules over as well. So Spica, inspires us to consume organic fruits, vegetation, herbs, flowers, and all that sorts of things that are, grown in nutrient-dense soil, that our body is made of the most high vibrational cellular components that are from our actual planet. And because Venus is there, it does bring in that more luxury energy. And so, especially in this day and age, it can be considered a luxury to have the highest quality food and, um, food and water and things like that. It doesn't mean that they're expensive. Seeds are extremely cheap, especially if you have heirloom seeds that you can continue to plant every single year. It's really not a lot of cost. And if your soil is clean to start with, you can just keep putting your compost back into it. And it's a self-sustaining system. Like Earth is so naturally abundant, it's always multiplying. Every fruit you get hundreds of seeds for the most part, most things. So it's like luxury doesn't mean expensive. So that is really, really important, especially when it comes to food things. If you're going to purchase everything, it may be more on the expensive side compared to, GMO fruits and vegetables and things like that. But remember, what you invest into yourself will automatically be rewarded. Venus is very good at prioritizing the self and making sure that you're loving yourself and being in that vibration of loving yourself by giving yourself the highest quality material items and so on.
Yeah, I don't mind spending the extra buck for better
Exactly.
quality. Take my money. Like if if it's cheaper, it's shitty quality. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, that's just sadly how it is.
Yeah. And even in some places, like for example, like local farmers markets around here, even though they're not happening now because it's autumn, but the like if I buy fruit and veg from the farmers market, it's less expensive than the GMO crap at the supermarket. So it
Right.
really depends on like environment of kind of where you're going. Like even the better isn't always going to be more expensive. It's more like knowing where to go. But if you're going to do like supermarkets and big stores, it's yeah, always going to be more expensive. But again, it's worth it. Exactly what you
Yeah.
said. Like same here. In this household, we put the extra buck for the highest quality everything. Like
Yeah.
thank goodness we found like a really great um meat man. He's not a butcher,
Oh,
but he um they partner with local Amish farms that do all the butchering and stuff, and everything's slaughtered within 7 days of being in the store. It is like the freshest. Like they have a very good life. They are not stressed out animals,
yeah,
and you
that's
can taste
important.
it. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
it, right, it's the blood. It's literally the blood. Like, do they have
Hmm.
stress hormones and who God knows what
Yeah.
injected into them, or did they live a good life and the first traumatic experience that they've had is their death? Like,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah,
Yeah,
high
because
quality.
that
Exactly.
energy gets transferred to you and you consume it.
Exactly. It's like blood magic, right? It's like if you're consuming tortured animals and like eating their flesh and drinking their blood, it's like, what kind of ritual are you ingesting? Like
Right.
just on
Wow.
an energetic level, it's like, yeah, no wonder why you're anxious. No wonder why you're depressed. Like you're drinking
Hmm.
anxious, depressed blood. Like
Yeah.
it kind of seems like a no-brainer, but it took me a long time to really put two and two together. Um, Especially because I was vegetarian for so long. So I just stayed away from meat in general. And then once I started eating meat again, I realized quickly I had to have high quality meat or it wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Okay. So yeah, so we have Venus, and it's going to be activating Arcturus on November 2nd of booties. I never know how to say it. I like booties. So people who are, we can expect some Arcturian activations. People that are associated with those lineages will be prominent at this time, especially in love and personal relationships. I don't like going too much into starseed stuff. I'm not really into that flavor of things, but um, I do like Arcturian things. I guess they found me at an important time of their life. I never became obsessed with them or anything like that. Um, but I like the light modality that comes through Arcturus and Pleiades, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, but also if people who are Arcturian star seeds, that energy might be coming through around this time as well. So yeah, we have Venus that's going to be, leaving Virgo and moving into the Virgo Libra void and into Libra. Morgan, you want to share your thoughts on, Venus leaving Virgo and moving into Libra?
Yeah. So talking about like what we put into our body, like the quality of the food and everything. I've been noticing myself lately, personally, because I've been really conscious about what I'm putting in my body and the quality of the food. And I've been noticing like I've been looking better. Like I'm seeing like the beauty on the outside from nourishing the guts of the inside. So that's kind of like what this movement looks like to me.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. Because again, it's like what you're consuming is a reflection of how much you love yourself. It's like when you hate yourself, it's so easy to just ingest a bunch of things that are bad for you because you don't care about yourself. And like when you care about yourself enough to put good things in your body, yeah, it's like that love is reflected in beauty, which is so Venusian.
Yeah.
I noticed that in myself too. Like I really lost my beauty for so long, because I hated myself so much. And it took a while to get it back and through the same process of like eating healthy, high quality. Um, and then, as Venus moves into Libra, it's also that high quality things are not just what you're putting on the inside, it's also the surface level, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the quality of, um, beauty products, health and beauty products that you're putting on, clothing. I know I've talked about
Hmm.
this on a past episode, but like one of my biggest undertakings right now is completely changing my wardrobe from synthetic, not everything synthetic, but synthetic fibers, things made of plastic, polyester, and polyester derivatives into all natural fibers. So like
Yeah.
cotton, linen, cashmere, and it's been such a wonderful process. I'm wearing an all cotton dress today, and it's so cute.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's also really, really important, so that you don't ruin, your endocrine system and put microplastics in your body and stuff. And honestly, I don't want to say it's harder. Let me not use my words to give myself a hurdle. Um, I have found it very extremely accessible to find high quality food stuff. But in the clothing industry, I have found that it's more limited selection. Well, in the past, let me put it that in the past, it's been more limited selection. I'm actually finding more and more natural fibers in places that I like to shop. Um, but it kind of amazes me because, like, super fancy boutiques that I've been to, and now I can just touch it and tell what it's made out of, which is like a cool new skill that's come on for me.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll go to a boutique and like, a dress will be like $500, $600 and it's made of plastic. And I'm just like, this is so fucking shitty. It should be illegal to charge
Yeah.
us for plastic. Like there's no way, I mean, obviously the manpower it takes to make some of these things and, people are free to value their time and creations as much, but it's just like really for plastic for something that's going to make you sick, like it's just
Right. Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Um, but
And
I
like sleeping too. Like I've been
yes,
upgrading my bedding with natural fibers, and that's really improved sleep a lot for me.
that is such a great point. That is such a great point. Yeah. Yeah, the pillows and
Yeah.
um blankets and sheets that you use. Yeah, because I know like cotton was just a standard for a really long time, but now they have like all these different synthetic plastic polyester fibers and a lot of them are like, oh, sweat resistant, stain resistant. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's plastic and it's sprayed with chemicals. Like you don't want to be
Hmm.
spending a bunch of time rolling around in your own sweat. It's just like, oh my God. But yeah, that's such a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, higher quality everything.
Right. Yeah.
And and again, it just kind of goes to show of like these the things that naturally occur on this planet is like it was already at that natural state, right? Of like the organic fruits and vegetables and things like that. And then to think that it costs less to create a manufacturing building to manufacture food, pay for the lighting, pay for all the expenses, pay for all the employees, pay for all the machinery to create something that's cheaper,
Yeah.
like it's insane. Like food is free, and that's what they don't want to tell you. I mean, it is, it's everywhere. But
Yeah.
um anyway, okay. So um yeah, I absolutely love that. That's such a good point. And
Thank you.
all the stuff that you sleep with. Honestly, I cuddle with a polyester stuffy. I need to change it, but I just love it so much.
Polyester's
But
everywhere.
I know.
Oh,
Plastic just took over this planet. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
I don't want to be in this Barbie world.
No.
Um, And then we have Venus that's moving into Libra. Do you have some thoughts on Venus at home in Libra?
Oh, yes. Yeah, just I think this is also a very telepathic thing with the people, the partnerships in your life, platonic or romantic. Um, and just really feeling the beauty of the mind and how it, you know, how it works. And I don't, I don't know. Sorry.
It's like no, it's okay. It's like the beauty in the balance.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to be able to balance things. I mean, life is purposely out of balance in a way, right? We know that chaos entropy is more stable, supposedly according to
Yeah.
thermodynamics. I don't know. I don't know it to be true myself. I just know what I was taught on that one, so don't quote me. Um, but we did have some comments in the chat. I think that this was Sagittarium. I think that this was back when we were talking about the Mercury Venus conjunction, but it kind of feels like you're going to live the life you desire in your heart or the one that has been programmed in your mind, finding harmony. I love that. Absolutely. And they also said cheap things cost much more, is what her dad said. Her father told her. And that's so true. It's like if you buy something that's cheap, it's going to break, you're going to have to replace it. If you buy something that can last your lifetime or multi-generations, it's even better.
Right.
And Nicole says, um, in terms of, we were talking about the quality, Nicole said that goes for water too. Find a spring if you can. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Water is life, as they
Hmm.
say. Spring water is great. Um, and I have a reverse osmosis and remineralizing system, which I highly recommend. It's the Sertoto copper system. So anyone who's looking for like an at-home filter, I recommend it because it filters out everything, including pharmaceuticals, and then it remineralizes your water. Plus, the copper is antibacterial, and um, putting trace copper into your water can reverse and reduce graying. So if anyone is worried about getting gray hair, copper is the answer.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah, highly recommend Sertoto system if anybody wants the link to that.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
put it
love
in the
to.
description. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let me make a note of that. Sertoto link. It's really great. I'm not an affiliate yet. Maybe Sertoto, hey, holla. But I love them. I love them. Um, but yeah, I love Venus and Libra, obviously as a Libra. It's a very lovely time. Um, very much, yeah, it's like the delicate dance of balance is what I want to say, because it is very delicate. Um, it's like one small can really tip the scales either way. So,
Yeah.
um, it Libra really helps things to not go to the extreme that we can often find in Scorpius. So, yeah, Venus and Libra definitely a great time for romance, making new friends,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. So we have Venus that's going to be entering Libra. It's first activating Zubin al-Janubi around, I would say 17th, peaking 18th, 19th, and into the 20th. Um, so again, that is the um it's a very influential star. So with Venus here, with the star of like listening and influence, there can be a lot in terms of our personal relationships or maybe even romantic relationships that have to do with the ability to listen. Like, are you really hearing what they're saying? Are you listening to what they're saying? Are you hearing what they're not saying as well? That's another skill of this star. Um, so those can be some themes through Venus here. And again, it's like the subtle art of influence that's going on. And I feel like Venus has a way of kind of influencing people in general, and a lot of it can do with, beauty and kind of the surface level of like what things look like, the physical aesthetic of things. So those things can be getting an upgrade around this time as well. Um, and again, it's this star is like using data to achieve your goals, or being able to use information to influence or capitalize upon it, or being able to receive money abundantly in some sort of way. So with Venus there, it's pretty good. It's a good time to do money ventures, since Venus rules over our relationship with finances. So um, it could be, increasing your budget towards things that make your life feel beautiful, whether you want your body to feel more beautiful or your physical reality to feel more beautiful. Maybe you want to repaint a room, or bring in a new piece of art, or have a new piece of furniture, or you want new makeup or something. Like, whatever it is, don't be afraid to invest in yourself, um, because that energy is always going to be returned to you. And then on November 22nd, we have Venus that is aligned with Zubin al-Shamali. So this is that star that has even more abundant energy. Again, that's the one that's green. It's a star of good fortune. So being activated by Venus, or aligned with Venus, um, it's a very, very abundant time. It's also the star of like divination practices and things like that. So using your psychic intuition or divination practices to do something that will bring you abundance, maybe like playing the lottery, or whatever it may be. It's a really, really great day to do that. And because it's connected to divination processes, if you need like a love reading or a self-love reading, this is the day to do it. Especially if, whether it's any divination practice, it could be astrology. Maybe you want to get a synastry or composite chart with you and your partner, or someone that you have eyes on, or whatever. Um, or if you get a tarot reading, or for me, Pokemoncy reading, there can come through a lot of different ways, but that's a great, great way to do it. Um, and then, yeah, so Venus continues. Again, it goes through that conjunction with Mercury retrograde. It is continuing. It does make an alignment with Hadar. I forgot to write down what day it was. Okay, around this time, I'll have to put it in the comments. I forgot to write down the date. Okay, well, it makes an alignment with Hadar, and this is a star of unconditional love. So with Venus activating Hadar with this alignment, it's a really great time to embody that unconditional love for yourself, towards others. There can be some things that come up that bring unconditional love to the forefront. Hadar is also a star of being. So it emphasizes being in the moment that you're experiencing. So with Venus there, it's kind of like double emphasis of really taking time to stop and smell the roses, be in your body, really experience life. I really love it, because it definitely feels like really embodying the Venusian codes of like loving yourself so much to be present and to like really live, really, really live. And then we have Venus continuing, and at the end of the month, it is lightly activating the Theta Librae on November 30th. And so this is a very interesting star. It's associated with people who are like 2 degrees separation away from you, or a degree of separation or more, kind of like a friend of a friend, or like an acquaintance type energy at its closest. It's a very light and surface level energy connections. that Libra holds because you can't be friends with everyone, right? So with Venus there, it can be connections that occur to bring more love into your life, even if they're a few degrees of separation away. So it's a great time to expand your connections through people that you don't know yet. Like, so for example, it could be like maybe you see on online that a neighbor or someone like a town away is giving away skis for free and you always wanted to ski. Or maybe you love skiing and you lost your skis or something like that, and boom, there it is. Like that's the kind of like you're connected, but like very subtly and barely. Or like a friend of a friend has a beach house and they're gonna let you use it because like your mutual friend vouches for you kind of thing. Like that's the kind of energy that can come through there. And could even be like a blind date, where like someone knows both of you and sets you up on a date and you see where things go. You never know. Alright. And Morgan, do you have any more to say on Venus?
Um, sorry, I kind of like draw blanks
Oh,
through
that's
the
that's
nervousness.
that's totally okay. Just, you know, take a breather and relax. Um, and yeah, so Venus is going to be in Libra through the rest of the month. So, Venus in Libra, very, very beautiful time. I'm a big fan. And we
Yeah.
can go ahead and move to Mars. And so Mars is starting off in Libra for the month. And do you want to share some energy that you feel of like Mars in Libra?
Yeah. So maybe a bit more passionate about art and beauty. Definitely a lot of anger around law and politics.
Yeah,
Um, we're seeing a lot of that right now.
yeah, definitely.
And it's very unbalanced.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, what do you think about all that?
With yeah, I definitely agree. It's kind of like Mars is very obviously it's a planet of aggression and anger, so it is bringing a lot of anger to the forefront. Um, and it is a lot of people want to take action towards these imbalances. It's like they want to bring in justice. They want to bring back fairness. But it's also this energy of like, was it ever fair and just to begin with?
No.
Exactly. So it's kind of like I feel like that's a lot of what Mars is doing as kind of a destructive energy of like, and I feel like that's kind of the middle ground approach of Libra, I guess, of how personally I'm holding the two extremes of like, is it worth trying to fix something that was designed to break humans to begin with? Or
Yep.
is it worth it to let it play out and destroy itself?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're caught between a rock and a hard place. And really being able to see the two perspectives of, fix it or just let it completely crumble. Um,
Hmm.
it's kind of like if you have an old jalopy, like your 1970, I don't know, Corvette or something. I don't know anything about cars. Um, it's like, do you keep fixing it up even though it has this, and doesn't have all the new features, or do you sell it for parts? Um, but yeah, I think Mars has been through Libra for quite some time, and I think exactly what you said, it really highlights a lot of the anger towards politics um and also financial stuff. A
Yeah.
lot of people are pissed at inflation and financial systems and things like that, and rightfully so. Again, they were not designed for the people. They just
No.
weren't.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of like they've been working exactly as they were intended to. So yeah, it's a very interesting time. And I think as Mars moves into Scorpius, it's definitely going to highlight more of the shadow energy and shadow work that needs to happen and exactly how we are poisoning ourselves or how we're being
Yeah.
poisoned by others, like all of that sort of stuff. And, Mars at home in Scorpius is not an easy transit.
Yeah.
The god of war in the constellation of poison is really, or I should say the planet of war. The planet of war and the constellation of poison is, uh, it's aggressive. It's not easy. What are your thoughts on Mars and Scorpius?
Yeah, just like you were saying, it's not easy, but it's necessary. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too, because it's like, the anger has to be directed somewhere. I feel like Libra kind of has a difficulty of how to aim. And I feel like once Mars gets into Sagittarius, which we won't talk about because that's like way down the line, but that's when people are really going to see how to direct their anger and take that action. But while Mars is in Scorpius, a lot more of this action is done internally, like in the shadow body. So, and if we think of things on like a larger esoteric scale, the systems that don't function in our society, the problems that the greater world has, are a reflection of the things that we are not dealing within in mass. It's not
Yeah,
saying that we all have the same problem, but it is an amalgamation of all of our bullshit that is unhealed that is collectively putting us on a particular timeline. That's why you
right.
can't blame a certain individual for anything except yourself, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
as your personal co-creator. Like the only way you can heal the external world is by doing the work within and doing it in a way that it can help pave the way and inspire others. That's literally, you have to fractal outward. That's the only way. That's the
Yeah,
only way. Um, and so I think a lot of people really, especially with the Libra, Mars and Libra, it's so easy to point fingers at certain people and forces, and not saying that they're doing the right thing, not saying that
right.
they're, saviors or any of that kind of bullshit, but it's like, they are a physical materialization of problems on individual levels that need to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why I'm not like super active in politics or anything. I was so much when I was younger, but once I realized like, oh, okay, I'm in the driver's seat of how to shift things. So that's when I
Right,
was like,
yeah.
okay, no more blame games. Plus, I'm not wearing the right outfit for it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's really all about the war within the South.
Yeah. hmm And that's exactly Mars and Scorpius
Yeah.
is we're within the self of what's trying to hide, what's
Mm-hmm.
trying to lurk in the shadows.
Being suppressed.
Definitely. Um, so we have Mars that's going to be activating Graphias into Shubba on, uh, yeah, like the 8th and 9th, even into the 10th. It's going to be a little bit more Graphias leaning. Um, so again, Graphias is that extremely aggressive, enjoying competition type energy. So that's definitely emphasized with Mars. It's a great time to deal with conflict head on if you got conflict to deal with. Um, and something that I didn't mention with the Sheba, I don't think, is that star holds the energetics of having victory over your enemies. And it also really likes power. So with
Mm-hmm.
Mars here, those energies are definitely going to be highlighted for sure. And working with Mars at that time can make you unstoppable, basically.
Ooh.
So, for those of you who really have to move through a lot of density or need to win something or defeat your enemies if you have them. Hopefully you don't. There are no enemies anywhere. Law of one stuff. But working with Mars is a great time to do that if you're on that level. Um, and then, of course, it has that conjunction with Mercury retrograde, um, which we talked about. And then it continues and is going to activate Omega Ophiuchi around the 16th, peaking 17th, 18th, even into the 19th, maybe even the 20th. And again, it can bring some anger to the forefront, I'm feeling, because Mars obviously of anger, especially if you're being gaslit or, societal norms that are just untrue in your world, at least. Um, or, any of those like hidden things or fears that we mentioned earlier, like going forward with your feelings or frustration, like those are definitely going to be highlighted with Mars there. But there can also be a lot of, passion and drive for healing and things like that. And then Mars is going to continue in the Ophiuchus star system for the entire rest of the month. So, Morgan, what are your thoughts on Mars and Ophiuchus?
Yeah, with like the passion of healing, like the divine resurrection within that may or may not happen for this time for you. Yeah, I, with the Antares alignment, I find it's very interesting because they're both so similar in when looking up at the sky, Mars and Antares. And Antares means Antares, like the
Yeah,
god
like
of war.
anti-Aries.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a time to end this war within the self, and a great opportunity too. And I think it's really cool because I have some videos of Antares with my phone zoomed in, and the star flashes all of the colors of the lower chakras, but also green, the heart too.
Mhm. I think I've seen that actually on your stories.
Yeah.
Unless you post a different star. I think it was Antares, like
Yeah,
last
no,
year.
definitely.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is super beautiful. And uh that's a really great point because Antares literally has anti-Aries energy. So it it is known as like to oppose Mars. So it holds these anti-death programs. So although
Yeah.
Scorpius has like all this death energy to it, Antares holds things that stop unnecessary death programs, which can be associated with war, but also things like our current, um, like medical and scientific practices and things that just breed creatures to die and things like that. So, yeah, Antares holds a lot that stops death, and so I think that's
Yeah.
the perfect point that you made of like, yeah, it's time to stop the war, and you stop the war within
Yeah.
exactly what you said. That is the only way.
Yeah.
hmm And what do you think about Mars's transit through the legs of Ophiuchus?
So like the first leg is to me, I see it as mastering the subconscious, power over your fears. And then the second leg goes into the galactic center, and like that's just like the portal of an amalgamation of all. So there's a lot in there that you can discover about the divinity within yourself.
I totally agree. And I like that representation because it's kind of like the first leg is your own inner fear. And then when you get to the um the supergalactic center, it's like or galactic center, I think you said amalgamation of all, which I really like because again, it's like, yeah, once you do that healing work, then it is reflected in the amalgamation of all. It is
Yeah,
like the microcosm becomes the macrocosm, um, which I think is, yeah, a beautiful interpretation of that, especially because it's between the legs. So obviously there's like a lot of sexual energy there too.
right.
And it's a really great time to kind of be reborn through Ophiuchus's legs, which is
Mm-hmm.
denoted as a man, but I've had so many people tell me they feel like Ophiuchus is a woman. I'm curious if you have an opinion on gender or agender or
I personally, I feel like even within myself, very androgynous. And I have the Ophiuchus rising and moon. And so that's how I see like the archetype of Ophiuchus androgynous or
Mhm.
embodying both.
Yeah, hermaphroditic almost. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if that's PC, but that's the imagery that I get. I see both genitalia um, through Ophiuchus
yeah.
because it's like being able to create within oneself
Right, right,
and
right.
holding both of those polarities because it's like doing all the things that Ophiuchus does really requires so much mastery of your sexual energy. Like you have to have balanced masculine and feminine codes of your
Hmm.
sexuality, like fully
Yep,
online to be able to embody these Ophiuchus codes.
right.
Yeah, I really like Mars through Ophiuchus. It feels very, yeah, a lot of people are going to be driven to do more healing, which we need in this world. So that's really great.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so do you have any more thoughts on Mars and Ophiuchus?
Um, I think it's gonna be a very healing time within and a lot of discoveries about the divinity of the self.
I totally agree. And I feel like a lot of it is also within the masculine polarity since it's Mars. So I feel like more people are
Yeah.
going to be balancing their masculine sexual energy. And then later, Venus will be coming up and doing that.
Yeah, right.
So let's go to Jupiter. So Jupiter is leaving the Gemini star system, kind of slowly but surely. Oh, here we go. Um, However, it is going to retrograde back into Gemini. So Jupiter begins its retrograde on the 12th. So here we can kind of see it. So it's going to be starting to retrograde back towards constellation Gemini through the whole month. It's going to be retrograding after the 12th. Excuse me, and will continue its retrograde until March 11th of 2026. Um, Morgan, what are your thoughts on Jupiter retrograde energy?
Um, well, with it being in Gemini, expansions of the mind through the curiosity of wanting to know and learn things. I've been really enjoying this energy.
Me too.
Yeah, I have Jupiter retrograde in my chart, so this energy will feel really familiar for me, but yeah, I'm happy that it's gonna be spending more time in Gemini because
Me
it's
too.
really helping me too with communication and being here tonight doing this. This is a big step for me, and I think a lot of that has to do with Jupiter and Gemini right now.
Definitely. I love Jupiter in general. It's one of the planets I work with the most just because it's the most fun. Um, but I love that Jupiter is, coming through that way to bring us together on the podcast because, yeah, I love Jupiter and Gemini as well. I'm glad it's going to spend some more time there because the all of the learned energy of Jupiter, um, all the new information that comes through Gemini, I just love it. Like I have a slew of topics that I need to continue to learn moving forward.
Yeah.
And so we have Jupiter that's going to be doing this activation of Al-Kirkab, which we talked a lot about in the last episode. So if you want more lengthy explanation, you can go ahead and tune into episode 5. But Al-Kirkab is the energetic of bringing things together that are meant to be together. So kind of like a clothespin or a link or glue or something like that. So with Jupiter activating the stars, it can help us take like concepts and ideas and put them together to deepen comprehension of a particular topic or expand our worldview in some sort of way. And El-Kirkab itself has a very high vibrational Mercury energy to it. So the fact that Mercury is there, it's kind of like, being activated by the planet that rules it. So even though Mercury is going to be retrograding, it kind of feels like a reassessment of like how, like the energetics of the star is about listening to divine guidance and then applying it to your day-to-day life, especially in terms of like daily routine. So with Mercury retrograde, there could be a reassessment of like, how am I getting information on a daily basis of how to take action in my life? Like, are you watching the news? Are you scrolling? Are you listening to a certain tarot reader or something like that? And like, is it really helping you materialize the life that you desire? Or is it taking you somewhere else that you don't? So I feel like, I said Mercury retrograde, but yeah, Mercury is going to be retrograding. But with Jupiter retrograding, there's a shift in beliefs and perceptions that also tie in with that Mercury retrograde that's happening. But yeah, it
Yeah.
is really high vibe Mercury energy there. But
Yeah.
Mercury's not activating it. Jupiter is. um, but also, this is one of the stars of miracles. So it's known for unexpected wins, unexpected gains. Jupiter, planet luck of abundance, super amazing. Things like winning the lottery, winning a giveaway, finding unexpected money, unexpected opportunities, things just falling in your lap and being so great. So it feels kind of like another opportunity for those things to happen through Jupiter. So if you get that inkling, again, like the things you're listening to, um, I highly recommend to listen to stuff that like uh not ASMR, what is it called? Like affirmations of like, I am lucky, money falls in my lap, sort of things, because like Jupiter wants to bring that through, really wants to bring it through. Because we had like Elker Cab was being activated almost all of October. I mean, it's still being activated, but when it was like right on the noggin, like so many amazing things were happening. I won 2 giveaways online like during that time and some other things. But like
Nice.
it materialized for me like very simply, very plainly. And now that Jupiter's retrograding back, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to win some more.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're feeling lucky, people, embody it, receive it, receive it.
Yeah, I'm feeling lucky with this.
Good. Do you have some more thoughts on Jupiter and Gemini or Jupiter retrograde for the month, or do you want to move to Chiron?
Um, let's move to Chiron. Yeah.
So we have Chiron. Pretty much doing the same thing I was doing. Hasn't moved much. It's going to be retrograding in Pisces all month. Not really activating anything big. Um, and yeah, it's going to continue its retrograde through January 2nd. So yeah, it's going to be retrograding all month. Morgan, what are your thoughts on Chiron retrograde in Pisces?
Like really going in the deep waters of the wounded healer. A lot of spiritual trauma could be coming up. But then you also heal yourself through those spiritual waters. I don't know. Chiron is kind of strange to me. I mean, it was only like when I found out it was only discovered like recently, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. It kind of like, but I love the message behind it, but I don't know. Is it kind of like new agey or I don't know.
Huh. Um, from my understanding, and I could be incorrect, I thought it was part of the asteroid belts. It's like a kind of like how asteroid Lilith and all the other asteroids that we consider to be part of. So for me, that is it's the planet that exploded
Oh,
um, between Jupiter and Saturn, which caused that polarity shift from Saturn to go from the negative polarity feminine energy it used to be into this distorted masculine. So for me, there's a lot of like soul fragmentation energy that comes through every asteroid. It's kind of like all the pieces that need to be put together, and Chiron um, is just one of them.
yeah, okay.
Uh,
Interesting.
but I think part of it is connected to that being connected to how I don't know if I want to call it soul fragmentation, but kind of humanity and the energetics of that, and how we have to kind of put the pieces back together to fully activate our light body.
Okay.
Um, because I think, the most interesting part is like Chiron being the ruling celestial body of Ophiuchus. That's
Right,
what
right.
intrigued me the most and what attracted it to me the most. But honestly, I feel like the entire asteroid belt is the ruler of
Okay.
Ophiuchus, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it includes like asteroid Lilith and things like that. It's like literally every single piece and part that we have to heal. But you know, there's thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of asteroids that have been identified and named at this point. So it's a lot. But personally, as a chart hacker, so like I use charts to accomplish certain goals and do certain things. So a lot of my times, especially when I have clients that have very kind of obscure and unique niche goals that they're trying to accomplish, there's usually an asteroid for that. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, it's very interesting. And like even for me personally, when I wanted to see Bjork live, there's an asteroid called Bjork, and I got third row tickets.
What? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was my first time seeing her. It was amazing at the shed.
Wow.
Um, and like even though I was like frozen in line in the online system, I just called and the lady on the phone gave me third row tickets at cost, which were it was like $150 and like they were reselling for like 40, $50,000 later. So like I just got lucky. I was purposely hacking my chart and doing things like that. Although I will
Yeah.
full transparency, I was working with the tropical algorithm at that time. That was, I think, in 2018. Um, but it still worked. So,
Okay.
um,
Wow.
yeah, I really like working with the asteroids because, again, it's like for very specific things that you want to do. Like if I were to ask a different astrologer, like, how do I get Bjork tickets and I wanted front row, but like get front row tickets, they'd be like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? This is astrology. But it's like thankfully I created my own system that works. So that's what I
Yeah.
like about the asteroid belt. So Chiron included.
Yeah, I just haven't really worked that much with them, but I'm still learning, trying to figure it out, you know?
Hmm. I've probably, between me and work I've done for my clients, I've probably only done around 50, not including Lilith and Chiron, and Juno and Ceres. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, they're really great. They're just very interesting, weird data points that you can work with.
All right, yeah.
And it's also interesting that like what I always found confusing is like even the tropical algorithm, it's like they can't really lie to you to us. I mean, they can, but like there's like a hint of the truth in there of like every tropical chart I've seen always has Chiron. And it's literally
Yeah,
like the key to unlocking and getting into the higher dimensional real astrology. Because it's like,
yeah.
okay, why is Chiron there? What does it rule? Like, oh, that's
Okay,
just
yeah.
this. Like, oh, okay, it's healing. Well, what part is the healing sort of thing? So it's kind of like anyone who sees the key knows that there's a lock that goes to it. So like
Yeah.
once you kind of do that, I think Chiron is which Chiron is also a bridge. That's one of the symbolism that it materializes as. So like it literally is a bridge into real astrology. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, people just see it. Just see it.
Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, Chiron in Pisces, definitely a lot of deep spiritual healing energy. A lot of people with healing powers are, especially through like psychic abilities that Pisces is really known for, is really going to um, be activated even during retrogrades. I feel like a lot of people who are using spiritual modalities to heal that aren't working, Chiron retrograde really puts that in the forefront of like, stop doing this. Like, this is not good for you because not every modality is meant for every human. Um, so yeah, I think Chiron and Pisces, again, is such a long transit, but it's absolutely necessary. And even with everything that's going on in the world, it's like we are really doing some deep, deep healing as a collective.
Yeah.
As much of a shit show as it may look like there's so much healing going on, and that's why it looks so messy.
Hmm.
Like, and anyone who's done their own healing work knows that's exactly how it is. It is a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how it's like right in the middle there of the V of Pisces.
Mhm. Yeah, do you want to talk more about the ethereal, etheric connection between the two fish?
Yeah, like they're jumping in different directions, but at the same time they're tied together. So it's really you can't escape oneness.
I love that.
Thanks.
You can't escape oneness. That is such a profound sentence. And I
Yeah.
think it's perfect for some of the other things that we've talked about too, of like that is the inner healing will always be reflected in the outer world. And like all the problems of our world are a reflection of internal problems that have not been solved. And like that whole concept is summed up in that sentence so beautifully.
Thanks. Yeah.
And do you have any more thoughts on Chiron and Pisces?
Um, I can't think of any right now.
That's all good. Then we'll move to Saturn. These outer planets, there's really not as much to say as with the inner because they're just not doing too much.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still doing a lot. They do a
Mhm.
lot. They hold a lot of energy. That's why their movement is so much slower because they're doing so much. Um,
Right.
so Saturn is still in Pisces. Technically, ooh, it's the Pisces Cetus void. Um, and it's still in the early degrees of Pisces. It's currently in retrograde motion and will be almost all of November. Saturn began its retrograde on July 14th, and it's going to end its retrograde. So it's retrograding back into, well, towards Aquarius, but it doesn't go into Aquarius. It still stays within the Pisces star system, under it, under the fish, and ends its retrograde on the 27th of November. So Saturn will be going to direct at the end of the month. Morgan, what are your thoughts on ending Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and any advice that you'd give for people once Saturn is direct?
Well, this kind of whole scenario is very like has been like confusing and soupy, I feel like.
Mm.
You know, with Saturn ruling time and structures, it's in Pisces, I feel like it's been like dissolving the solidity of all of that. So it's been, for me, it's like it just kind of like been a cosmic soup of confusion. And it's squaring my sun and Mercury, so
Oh, wow.
it's been pretty interesting. But it's also it's been showing me a lot, and I think that a lot of healing has been coming through with this. So with Saturn going direct, we'll be going back into all those feelings, but with more discipline and really grasping the lesson of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you put it perfectly, that it's helping dissolve all of these systems.
Yeah.
And I think out of any planet, Saturn is the most distorted. And that sucks because Saturn really is a lot
Yeah.
of, it's like what people are putting their energy towards in the long-term goal. And a lot of that has been siphoned and misdirected and things like that. And,
Right.
it's Saturn's transit through Pisces is going to be so long. We're still in the first degrees. Oh, God. And it's like, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. And it's going to be a pretty long transit. And I feel like once Saturn gets into Aries, it will be this rebirthing energy. But really, it's like, Pisces as kind of I guess, a sign of death in a way, of like letting go of the physical, right? It helps you, your soul lives on, but your physical departs. And it's kind of like really separating from these systems and things that aren't in spiritual alignment with the collective anymore.
Yeah,
And
totally.
the fact that it's such a long transit kind of helps it dissolve at a rate that won't be super jarring. I mean, it's still jarring, but it's not going to be so extreme that all society collapses so much that it's just like no one can survive. Like, it's not going to be like that, but it's
Mhm.
dissolving. And that's the perfect way to put it too, like dissolving. Like,
Yeah.
right, it's just getting smaller and smaller as the environment, the water, the solvent, like strips it
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what needs to happen. Saturn needs a bath.
Yeah.
Needs a Pisces bath. Put some bubbles in that bitch. Like, calm down, Saturn. Get some cucumbers.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's
that,
like learning to swim too in the
mhm.
abyss of all of this.
That is such a great point. Especially like the psychic aspect and mystical aspect of Pisces. I feel like society as a whole, especially our social structures through science, have really been built devoid of metaphysical reality, of the human
Yeah.
spirit as even being considered an important element. And it's like now Saturn retrograde is helping us destroy systems or dissolve systems um, that don't have that spiritual component and metaphysical component. And when Saturn is direct, it's like game time. Like people who are helping build these systems and social structures and businesses and companies and families, right? All these Saturn type things are that are in alignment with the spiritual needs of all
Yeah.
and the metaphysical reality, which um, I want to say dictates our life, but I don't want to use that word, but kind of in that same flavor that governs our reality, they're going to be very successful. And, you know, Saturn in Pisces is an absolutely great time to have a spiritual business.
Yeah.
Like it is time for the people
Absolutely.
who are aware of metaphysical reality and who use the universal laws of energetics and spiritual alignment to succeed and thrive. So it's a really, really exciting time to be alive.
It is,
I
yeah.
mean, obviously, we're both in this area, so it's like it's definitely exciting for us. It sucks for the people who are, you know, building their brand on slave labor and bullshit, but
Yeah.
that's their problem. Yeah, I really like when Saturn goes direct. It feels like it's full steam ahead kind of energy of like, all right, but it's full steam ahead, not in a way of like, okay, let's hurry up and race to the finish line to get it done. It's like everything that I do must be for this long-term goal, like must
Hmm.
align with my goals and my mission and my vocation. So I
Yeah.
really, yeah, I like it. Do you have some more thoughts on either Saturn in Pisces or Saturn retrograde or direct? Or do you want to move to Uranus?
Let's go to Uranus.
Okay. All right, so we have Uranus still in Taurus, also another very long transit, is still activating this Pleiades cluster. Um, and Uranus began its retrograde on September 7th, which was the first eclipse that we had that was activating Hydor in Aquarius on the exact day. And then will continue its retrograde through February 3rd. So it's going to be retrograding all month. Do, 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 do. And if anyone wants info on Uranus retrograding at the Pleiades, I talk about it in length on the last episode, so you can go check that out. But Morgan, you want to share your thoughts on Uranus retrograde in Taurus?
Yeah, I love that it's with the Pleiades. I think the Pleiades really hold true to the seven sisters and the feminine power. Um, yeah, she's erupting through and awakening, and I think it's a beautiful thing. The retrograde is the awakenings within the feminine and the genius of that polarity within.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Like the genius is the perfect way to put it of the feminine, which is like, you know, the natural organic tech. Like being at
Yeah,
one with nature, like these things that are really no-brainers that you know, this distorted masculine and feminine energy that made us so focused on just physical things at the expense of the health of society, the health of humans, and the health of the planet. Like it was just such a
yeah,
stupid idea and path that humanity took. Um, but I agree, like this is really stimulating a lot of the feminine genius to come back online. And Uranus activating Pleiades causes women in power to rise, causes high priestesses and queens and um, other feminine archetypes, empresses to rise. And it's really, really great. And again, a lot of it has to do with to reinstall the organic tech on this
Yeah.
planet, which we really need.
Mm-hmm. The body technology.
Yes, exactly. Which is so emphasized in Taurus because for me, Taurus rules the physical form. I know a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people think like it's Aries. For me, Aries is the energy body,
Yeah.
and in Taurus, it takes physical form. So like
Yeah.
it's literally physical tech, like learning about your lymphatic system, which is technically, I don't want to call it your immune system because it's not that necessarily, but the lymphatic system basically is just like the sewage system. Like you don't really need immune responses if you're consistently taking out the trash.
Yeah.
And like that was such a huge thing for me. Um, especially as I like began ingesting healthier things, was like learning about, and the thing is like I went to college for molecular biology and neuroscience and like was in tons of medical classes and never once learned like how to help the body heal itself and like to do these certain things and how to activate your lymph so that it naturally does these processes. And it just kind of blew my mind of like, wow, they really don't want to, they don't tell us any of these things. Like I had to learn from
Yeah.
the internet. Um,
Right.
but yeah, like it was so huge, especially like reducing inflammation, getting toxins out of my body, and just learning how to open my lymph and how to do it and the order to do it. Really, it was life changing. Um, and it's literally like 2 to 3 minutes a day. Like it is insane how simple and easy it is. Um, but yeah, like just that's just one example of the body tech that really has just shifted my whole world.
Yeah. It's amazing. And yeah, they don't they don't want us knowing. They want us sick and they want reoccurring customers, and it's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Um, what's some like body tech stuff that you've been feeling through Uranus and Taurus,
Um,
if you have?
just like I mean, just really the powers that come with grounding your body into the with the earth and connecting, and just realizing that we are so much more than we've been led to believe, and the body is a lot capable of much more. um yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. It's kind of like the the thing that's been going around the internet, or at least it was a while ago, of like go touch grass. And it was like a joke, but it's like literally people need to. Like they need to ground. They need to be touching grass. Like connecting physically with the planet literally does wonders for your body, for
Mhm.
your nervous system. Like the just the negative ion like shifts are, I mean, they're measurable, right? But
Mhm.
um, just the way that you feel and the inner peace and the safety that just sitting with the
Mhm.
earth can bring you is just so normal. It's just like it is the normal. It's so miraculous, but it's a wonderful normal to have here.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the Uranus-y like alien stuff that comes through Uranus as well is like returning us back to Earth kind of thing of
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's the false uh like alien savior sort of thing or false father Anunnaki god bullshit is really falling. Um
Yeah.
and aliens aren't going to be our saviors. no one can save you except yourself, sort of thing. So all these savior complexes are being dissolved as well. I guess that can also be kind of a Saturn and Pisces thing, since savior complexes can come through Pisces. And yeah, just really returning back to our Mother Earth.
Hmm.
Like, she
Yeah.
gives us everything. It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm so not into all that alien stuff.
Me neither. Like, I'm very knowledgeable about it, and I know a lot about alien species and things like that, but like, um, they are not the answer or solution to anything.
Right, right.
Like, it's, yeah. And
And
again,
like,
this, like, oh, go ahead.
well, like how like modern society likes to think that like aliens built the temples and stuff, and that's just like I think it's distortion from like of making everyone believe that we can't do that. Like it has to be something outside of us or something extraterrestrial. But I think that the human species and body technology is very capable of doing all those things, but it's been shut off.
Yes, exactly. By entities that
Yeah.
siphon it for themselves. Like,
Right.
it's just so bad. But thankfully, a lot of people are, yeah, their body tech is coming back online. And also, like, the higher chakras, like above the crown, causal and upward, um, I've been finding have been higher activated lately on a personal end. So I'm really excited about that because it's easier for multi-dimensional travel. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have some more thoughts on Uranus retrograde in Taurus, or would you like to move to Neptune?
Let's go to Neptune.
Righty. So Neptune's hanging out close to Saturn there. So Neptune will be in Pisces for all of the month. It's even more slower moving. And Neptune's at home in Pisces. It has been there for years. It began around 2021 and will continue through Pisces until 2039, 2040. So it's a very long transit. And it began its retrograde on July 4th, will continue which is so funny, it was on July 4th, but it continues for the entire month, will be retrograding. Oh, and then we'll end its retrograde on December 10th. So it's going to be retrograding all month. Morgan, your thoughts on Neptune retrograde in Pisces?
Well, first, I think that we're very lucky to be living in this time of Neptune and Pisces, because a lot of people are awakening to the spiritual realms and the spiritual um, existence of human nature. And yeah, with it retrograde, um, I think I have that in my chart too. I don't know. I've just been like really been able to like my psychic abilities and like just it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain, but um just it's easier for me in this time to like step into the other world, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
if I could put it that way. Um, like I'm seeing in my mind's eye, um, just like visuals and stuff. I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to explain it. It's like your mind's eye is clear. Yeah, like visions come
Yeah,
easier. That's
right.
definitely a Neptune and Pisces energy of just like psychic senses on, like clairs turned on.
Yeah.
For me, some like clairaudience has become louder for me, and um, clairokinetics have come more online for me where I can like touch something and see into like the history of the object and like feel what it's experienced. So that's like kind of a new one for me. I mean, I've had those experiences before, but not like all the time. Um, so I can like definitely feel like when something needs to be cleansed, like of mine, which is helpful. Like I can feel more of the energy that's absorbed into it or like see, yeah, memories and things. So
Yeah.
that's like a kind of a new one for me.
Cool.
Mhm. Um, and yeah, so sorry, did you say like your thoughts on Neptune retrograde?
Yeah, just I feel like everything's just come like this the clairs are just much more potent during this time.
Yeah, it's almost like Neptune retrograde is helping get rid of a lot of the sludge and even like doubt for some people who have psychic gifts. Um, I feel like society has kind of shunned the psychic senses for so long. Um, And I think just watery stuff in general. I remember making a post in like my early astrology days of like, everyone loves a fire sign for their drive and determination and passion. Everyone loves an air sign for communication and detachment. Everyone loves an earth sign for being grounded and making cash. But
Mm.
like society hates water signs for being emotional and psychic. Like, and
Yeah.
I feel like water signs just got such a bad reputation for so long, but with Neptune and Pisces now, it's like finally being is vindicated the right word? I'm not sure, but being acknowledged properly and not silenced or doubted. So it's definitely um a really great time to be alive, exactly like what you said. Like it's a very exciting
Yeah.
uh time
Yeah.
for the waters to finally be acknowledged.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm here for it.
Mhm. We do have one major alignment during November with Neptune. Um, and that occurs on the 3rd. It is going to be aligned with Sheet of Pegasus. So this is definitely not an easy alignment to have. So um, first, like when Neptune retrograded, because Neptune is retrograding at Sheet, if you have to travel through water, it's best to avoid it if you can. I don't recommend being on a cruise or on a boat or anything like that. Um, but Neptune retrograde is helping destroy, like literally what we talked about, like Sheet is a destroyer of false father alien god programs and also like black hole technologies and things like that. So with Neptune retrograde there, it's really helping shut down those programs and shut down black hole technology. Um, and obviously, because it's retrograding, we can expect a lot of distortions of those kinds to pop up. So, like, pay attention to those kinds of things. I know a lot of people have been talking about Project Bluebeam for forever. So, if this is the month that that happens, just like take it with a grain of salt. Again, aliens are not here to save us or any of that bullshit or lord over us or any of that bullshit. Um, and Sheet can be torturous to the mind. It is not a high vibrational star of what I once thought it was. It is not. It can like people who are in deep spells of delusion can be put into psychosis. Like this star is known to induce psychosis. It can even push people to want to off themselves. So definitely like shields up at this time, especially, any false father alien god program or black hole technology that's trying to siphon people's life energy by making them off themselves. Like, hopefully, no one watching this is in that realm, but like, if you feel like you're kind of teeter-tottering on wanting to exist and not, like, put so much protection up around this day because it is not good juju that comes through Sheet there. It's
Ooh.
not an easy alignment. But awareness brings clarity.
Yeah.
So, when we're talking about, getting information and downloads and things like that, if you have a new, channel that opens on that day, like I would keep channels off on November 3rd or, have a secret password to open them because you don't want nasty stuff to be coming through. Um, but Neptune is retrograding to help shut down a lot of that stuff from Sheet. So that is good. But yeah, Sheet is
Good.
literally filled with a bunch of shit at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheet.
Yeah. Legit.
Ah, that's dark.
It is dark. Yeah. I know, and you don't expect
Um,
from Pegasus. Well, Pegasus in general, they help okay, as we're on timelines where war happens, they facilitate wins in quote unquote holy wars to get to a timeline where there is no war, where war machines are completely shut down. So it's like an anti-war battle energy. It's a very weird energy that comes through Pegasus. Um, and a lot of like Pegasus unicorn hybrids can come through as well. And again, they're helping with these timeline shifts. Um, because there is very real energy shutting down all the war timelines, thank goodness.
yeah.
But yeah, everyone's shielded up on November 3rd.
Noted.
Hmm. And then, do you have more thoughts on Neptune retrograding in Pisces, or would you like to move to Pluto?
Pluto.
Pluto. Love Pluto. So Pluto is still in the Sagittarius Capricornus void. It has been for quite some time. It is, inching towards Sagittarius towards Capricornus ever so slowly, like every year. And we have one major alignment with Alberio of Cygnus. So I briefly touched upon Cygnus earlier. That was the constellation where the machinery was installed of the false monetary programs that required all these terrible things in order to be wealthy, blood sacrifices, getting rid of morals, and the whole notion of like you have to be evil to have money used to be running through Alberio, but it has since been liberated, and that is no longer an energetic truth at all. So Cygnus is reinstalling natural organic resource allocation and monetary might to those actually worthy of it. Um, but Alberio specifically is a star that is associated with sound codes and how sound creates matter. So it's connected to language and how certain words are purposely infiltrated into the minds of the masses to build a distortion world, to materialize a certain phenomenon. And how distortion of language is the foundation for the distortion of the material realm. So this can go into topics like quantum grammar and even getting back into the original templates of language itself. So with Pluto activating Alberio, it really places emphasis on our sound fields, and it can cause shifts in personal vocabulary and communication. It can also cause some like mistranslations and misunderstanding, kind of like a Mercury retrograde energy. But Pluto is going to be assisting in shifting language, specifically around money and finances and material resources to help restore organic functioning and the wealth allocation across the planet. So it's going to help remove terms and words that manifest lack, scarcity, poverty. So really pay attention to any words that you learn about and like their actual meaning. And don't be afraid to change your vocab at this time because Pluto is here to help shift language. Like personally, one that has popped up for me recently is like using the word poor very loosely. Like if I see someone like going through a tough experience, I'm like, oh, that poor girl. Like, no, why am I speaking poverty on them when they're just experiencing something unfortunate? Um, So I was like realizing how much like poor energy was just like verbally being spoken like in mass towards people. But I've changed so much of my vocabulary over time. I know like one of the examples I used on a previous episode a couple months ago when we had an alberio alignment was like the societal um, use of Loki, which is like summoning Loki. So, like being very careful about certain ways that you are speaking things into existence because, spellings, they're spells.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and yeah, a lot of like the language that we use and that we normalize is literally building that world. So when
Mm-hmm.
people are always talking about, their life sucks or their life this, like you're affirming it with your sound codes. Um, So yeah, Pluto's
Yeah.
definitely shifting a lot there. And additionally, Alberio is um it's known to bring like kindness and charity to those in despair. So anyone going through that Pluto level shadow work and death and rebirth or evolution, Alberio will typically bring yeah, like charity to you and help and assistance that you need. Um, and the energetics of Alberio help individuals who are ready to fly high, but also shoot down those who do not behave properly when they're in positions of authority. So with Pluto here, very extreme kind of energy, we can expect some big shifts. We may see some rightful leaders rising and wrongful leaders falling. So I think that's a
Mm,
really exciting thing for Pluto
yeah,
to be doing.
that.
What are your thoughts on Pluto in the Sag Cat Void?
Um, I think, we're I'm ready. I'm ready for what Pluto's about to bring. I mean, maybe I can't say I'm like ready, but I think it needs to happen. And the decimation of all the corrupt systems. And I really like how you mentioned the power of word, because it's just so true. If we're going to be speaking about ourselves or our lives, we need to be very mindful of that, because we will invoke that energy towards us in our lives if it is negative. But also it's powerful when it's positive too. So there's a lot of power in that. And I think it's unfortunate that tropical people believe that Pluto's in Aquarius, because okay, what what did Pluto do in Capricorn then?
I know.
Like what?
I know. It's like, oh, we have barely begun to see the precursor of how Pluto is about to rock the shit of Capricornus. Like, we have not even begun.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. Uh,
Oh,
um,
oh, go ahead.
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say we have a Savage Ant in the chat saying that they're honored to be watching live. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Thanks for watching live.
thank you.
Yeah, loving all the chats here. Thanks everybody. Um, yeah, more thoughts on Pluto?
Um, well, yeah, it's in the void right now, and um this blend is, really showing us the power of our freedom, and over these corrupt systems. Um, we spent, what did we spend COVID and Pluto and Sagittarius?
Yeah, which also, guess what Pluto was activating at that time?
Oh,
Corona Australis.
oh my God.
I know, you can't make this shit up. It was like right
Yeah,
after the activation, but yeah, uh-huh. Which like yeah,
yeah,
during that time, like Pluto in Sag of like travel, like changes in
yeah,
travel, changes in school, like Hello,
Yeah.
people. Do you not see it? Literally front and center of what's happening. Like our whole thing shifted.
Yeah.
And I guess what are your predictions for Pluto in Capricornus? If you want to share
Oh.
predictions, you don't have to.
Uh, Things are gonna get more fucked up,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be really scary. Um, but it's necessary, and I don't know. I don't try. I try not to predict too much. But yeah, um, the systems in control are they're gonna fall and crash and burn.
Yeah, it's more like people are going to realize they were never systems of control to begin with. They have no
Right.
control. And it's like really wild um, to reinstall these true sovereignty codes back into society. Um, but yeah, like as the Lord of Fear, Pluto, like there is going to be fear to move through, especially in all the Capricornus themes. Like, um, kind of like you can't think an alien's going to be your savior. You can't think a government's going to be your savior. You can't think a
Right.
political figure is going to be your savior or a celebrity. Like all of these um, hierarchical systems that don't benefit us cannot be looked to in any sort of way. Um, and I'm trying to remember, there's a term that Amber of Celestial Healing 44 and True Sky Human Design use. I'll have to ask her when I talk to her next. But she was saying, I think it was called like um, instead of hierarchy, it was like heteroarchy.
Hmm.
I don't know, maybe that's not the right word, but it was basically like instead of these structures like this, it's an energy flow on the same plane. I don't remember exactly how she explained it, but it was like it felt exactly what it was of like Pluto shifting the power structures like of
Right.
Capricornus. Um, but yeah, we still have like a couple years of breathing time. I forget let's just double check. Pluto, oops. Oh, here. I was gonna say when it actually like goes into Capricornus. Yeah, like 2028. It's like, really close. So we have a couple more years of the void. So enjoy it while you can, people. Be
Yeah.
prepared. You got years to do it. You know what I mean? Like, be prepared for any structure that you have been relying on for something to be able to find that more in community um, is, I think, key there.
Yeah.
Do you have some more thoughts on Pluto?
Um, well, I also think it's really interesting, and also tropical astrology misses out on this too, that Pluto and the Eagle constellation in the United States, that's the Pluto, the
Yes.
natal
True.
position of it's like it's
Yes,
all there.
exactly. Altair is the
Yeah.
exact star of
Hmm.
the United States true Pluto return. Pluto was aligned with Altair at that time. And
Hmm.
if any listener wants more information on that, we have a special topic episode back in season 1 on the true Pluto return, which happened 3 times because of the retrograde. And you can kind of take a look at what was happening around those times and you'll see exactly what it is. Um, but yeah, Pluto through Altair is helping shut down surveillance state programs. So that's also really important because, you know, talking on the tropical algorithm again, they think that Pluto's in Aquarius. And how is that manifesting for them? This push for like digital ID and surveillance and all this bullshit. It's like, stop worshiping that fucking algorithm. You are
Yeah.
manifesting a dystopian nightmare, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, they're feeding
Like,
it.
exactly. Like, no, Pluto is shutting that down through Altair and it's right there. And yeah. And again, it is funny because like the true United States Pluto return star being in the Eagle constellation, like it's not a coincidence at
No.
all. Which, it's kind of funny because like eagles themselves are a little kind of wonky as a spirit totem because it is a totem of Scorpius. It's one of the emanations of Scorpius. Um, but eagles, like the lower emanation is they're often like instead of hunting, they will actually find another bird of prey that has just caught something and just steal it from them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, good Lord, the shadow aspect of Aquila, is not lost on me when it comes to America. But yeah, do you have some more things you want to talk about with Pluto?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okie doke. So I do have a couple things to touch upon before we end the episode because we do have some alignments of North Node and South Node that are happening. So North Node's in Aquarius, South Node is in Leo, no matter what the tropical algorithm says. And so on November 6th, we have North Node that is going to be aligned with Anka of Phoenix. And as a Phoenix myself, I love it. So I know I have to touch upon it. Because this is really going to help bring a lot of transmutational and transformational energy, especially if you work with transmutation or transformational energy. If you have Scorpius, which speaking of Eagle being an emanation, Phoenix is also an emanation of Scorpius. So if you have Scorpius placements, you definitely are going to be like heavily feeling this. If Phoenix is a totem of yours or a spirit animal or spirit guide, you're definitely going to be feeling this. Um, if Moltres or Ho-Oh is your favorite Pokemon, you're going to be feeling this. Okay.
Mm.
um, and Anka specifically is associated with Kundalini activations and immortality codes. So that brings in Ophiuchi energy as well, because you can't have Scorpius without Ophiuchus. And so this star is associated with learning how to loop your own energy through your body, which is part of the immortality codes, and actually not needing to consume anything.
Hmm.
And it's also associated with new ways to see. So, like when we've had Anka alignments of the past, Braille was invented, the electric lamp was invented, satellites for TV like were invented. So those are very like plain Jane examples, but new sights may be activated for those on their soul mission. So this can be psychic senses, or can also literally be new technologies of way to see that can turn online. Um, and this star is associated with the birth and death of governments. So that's exciting.
Oh
Pay attention to
yeah.
what is occurring with government bodies on this day on November 6th. So mostly it won't be televised, it won't be on the news channels, but kind of pay attention to any legislation or anything kind of in the background that's going on November 6th, because it's going to be very, very interesting. And it's also a very creative star. It's connected to things like Web3, blockchain, natural beauty products that are made with like exotic botanicals, and how art can be used as a weapon. So artists and creators and things that are birthing new things into reality that have not existed or that are existing again, I guess, are really going to be stimulated on this day. Again, North Node activations really cause a lot of people to be shifted to timelines aligned with their soul mission, but it pushes you into uncomfortable territory. It's new terrain, it's new territory. That's why it feels scary because it's new. So it's really causing you to expand your consciousness, which is not comfortable. It's not meant to be comfortable. So that's a really, really big day. Um, Morgan, do you have some thoughts on that or thoughts on North Node and Aquarius in general?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I didn't know about that star, that constellation, but thank you for bringing that up. That's
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. North Node and Aquarius, I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, it's definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone. I'm here today speaking on live YouTube, and I think it's great because it helps others to see that they can do what they fear and step out of their comfort zone. And it brings the community together, and I love this community that we share with True Sky. It's definitely one of the blessings that's come into my life through looking up at the stars. So
Yeah, as above, so below. It's like when you connect to the heavens, you connect to heavenly people on earth.
yeah.
Um, and then we also have a South Node alignment with Mizar of Ursa Major. And that is going to be happening on the 20th, which is also the day of that Libra new moon. So that's going to be a big day for sure because South Node aligned with Mizar. This can bring up some relationships to the forefront. Obviously, with all the new energy of the Libra new moon, it's kind of like you have to clear the old to make space for the new. But specifically, Mizar is a star of marriage and like romantic partners in union, divine union, or legal union. So it can bring relationships up because South Node brings, karmic gunk and karmic gifts. It can be past marriages in this lifetime or other lifetimes back into our lives. So again, it can bring some gifts or gunk. Maybe it's a devoted husband in a past life comes and is now your best friend, or maybe your pet. I don't know. But it could also be your terrible ex that you're divorced to that's coming back around and just being annoying. So, it can materialize in a couple different ways. Hopefully, it's the former. Um, and Ursa Major in general is actually merging with the Pleiades. So, which is really amazing because Uranus is doing its whole thing there. And it's helping to solidify hierogamic union through these star systems and restore back the organic consciousness templates to this planet. So original light body technology, crystalline earth grid, and so on, having that, back online and also removing all the false technology. So this South Node alignment can do some kind of wild things to the collective to do some karmic cleanup work. Ursa Major alignments in general are very protective of the collective. It's like mama bear energy. So yeah, this can materialize in a couple different ways. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on South Node in Leo?
Um, maybe like, I don't know. It's also fresh right now,
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's
I
that's
can't
totally
think of
okay.
anything right now.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, South Node in Leo, has a lot to do with like the pack that you surround yourself with, right? It's like
Okay,
the
yeah.
the pride of lions and also the pride within. So, South Node is really letting go of a lot of false egos, false identities, like things that aren't really you and like things that you shouldn't take pride in, I suppose, as well. But then also like the pack of lions that you surround yourself with, are they really meant to be your pack? Is that really your group? And I think it's a great polarity to the Aquarius energy with North Node
Right.
actually aligning you with the group and collective consciousnesses
Yeah.
that you're like meant to be a part of. So,
Yeah, I love that.
and I definitely feel like South Node in Leo because Leo it is like the pack that you surround yourself with, but it is also known for like blood relatives. Um, that a lot of people are going to be noticing the karmic gunk that they have in terms of soul contracts with various people that they're related to, and probably also like getting rid of those bonds. Like some people may realize, like, okay, the lesson here is that I'm not meant to have this person in my life, or like in this lifetime, I cannot be connected to this individual. So I think more and more people are going to be waking up that there are contracts like that and they are meant to be close relatives because it's like their soul loved you enough to teach you that lesson, which is very, very difficult. Um, so Yeah. Again, like you said, it's
Um,
just the beginning, so we're just starting to see it, but it really feels like, yeah, a release of false ego and really connecting with that North Node in Aquarius, like connecting with people that you're actually meant to.
okay, yeah. Yeah, the release of the false ego for sure. I feel that a lot too.
Hmm. Yeah, I've definitely been going through it myself. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the last thing that I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else that you want to mention about North Node, South Node, or anything else that we talked about?
Um, I don't know. Sorry, I kind of like I get that stage fright where I don't know
Oh,
what
that's
to
okay.
say.
No, you don't have to apologize. I mean, if you want to talk about something, go ahead. If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, I'm not sure right now.
Okay. Well, then, Morgan, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing your celestial wisdom with everybody. Anyone who wants to reach out to Morgan can find all of her links in the description box below. If you're rewatching, make sure to give her a follow, support her work on Facebook, Instagram, and Etsy. And yeah, thank you, Morgan, so much again. And thank you, everybody in the live chat. Thank you that there are still some 6 of you with us, 7 of you with us. Thank you so much. That is really amazing. Morgan, you have a really great energy. This has been the most lively chat that we've had in months. So I really
Oh,
appreciate that special energy that you brought, and it really materialized in a beautiful way.
oh, thank you. And thank
Hmm.
you for having me.
Hmm.
It really means a lot. And I'm so glad we had this chat and got to spend this time together.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for your openness and authenticity and vulnerability and really shining your light in that special way and showing other people that it's safe, to do that
Yeah.
and to be seen even through, being nervous or anything like that. So, you're really doing a huge service to everybody.
Oh, it's an honor.
And yeah, so thank you, everybody. Oh, we got some beautiful insight ladies with some hearts, hearts, hearts. Thank you so much. Um, for the next episode is going to be the December transit report, which will be on Tuesday, November 25th at 7:30 p.m. EST. Amber of Celestial Healing 44 and True Sky Human Design will be back to discuss December transits. So if you recall, she did think our August transits. So had a lot of really amazing feedback. And so she's back to discuss again. So make sure you join us live on YouTube here. Bring your questions, bring your chats. Um, and we will see you on that Tuesday. And until then, keep looking up because the sky,
Yeah.
the true sky, don't lie. And when you align with the true sky, you align with your true self. Thank
Yeah,
you
you
again,
definitely.
everybody who's watching the replay and who joined live. And thank you again, Morgan, for joining us today. It truly has been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.